Hello and welcome back to Serie A Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake
and Matt.
You know what time it is!
I can't tell you guys enough how much you've been my internal monologue when thinking about football for the last year.
Yes! Amazing! We get to record while drinking some wine. Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Salernitana.
We love them.
We love them. Stop zooming in on Allegri's face, bro. You're gonna make
How
me
are you
break.
exposing me?
Because you're gonna make me break, man.
Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Serie A Spotlight. We're your host Jake
And Matt.
and this is episode 191 where we'll be taking you through all the action of Matchday 5 in Serie A.
Of course, we'll be starting with the Sunday 8:45 p.m. match, which people are deeming as an early title showdown between Milan and Napoli, where Allegri's side prevailed in a 2-1 victory over Conte's side, thanks to a very inspired Christian Pulisic, as well as a certain maestro Luka Modric pulling the strings in the middle. It wasn't all obviously easy after that red card early on in the second half, but Milan held on and got a very vital 3 points for that huge statement. Shortly followed by Juve 1, Atalanta 1. Atalanta with all the transition that they're going through, with all the injuries that they have right now, all the changes to their starting 11, still have yet to lose a game. Of course, Juve haven't lost a game either, but this 1-1 is nothing short of a disappointing result for Juve. Cagliari 0, Inter 2. Here we saw two brothers playing against each other, not the first time we've seen that this season, of course. It was Pio Esposito who got the goal for Inter, who got their second goal and his first goal in Serie A history, which I think will be the first of many, and we're all very excited to see what Pio can do with his hopefully long career at Inter. Roma 2, Hellas Verona 1, another victory for Roma where they kept a clean sheet. Actually, every victory they've had so far this season, they kept a clean sheet. It's their first 2-0 victory because they typically win 1-0. However, Hellas made it very, very tricky for them. They could have easily scored a couple of goals. Gift Orban already with the miss of the season, man.
Terrible miss. I think it would have been harder to do what he did than to actually put the ball in the back of the net, right? I don't think he quite saw the ball coming. Because it went through some traffic and it just basically hit off his foot and into the upright. And the thing is, he didn't look too bothered, Gift Orban.
No,
very, very nonchalant.
Brother, the gift that keeps on giving. You can never guess what his next move is going to be.
Exactly.
Predict his next move, no one knows.
A big miss shortly before that as well.
Yeah. Lecce 2, Bologna 2, where we saw another local youngster score a very important goal over here, and that was our very own Ciccio Camarda with a 94th minute true number 9 header to equalize against Bologna in front of the Lecce fans. It just doesn't get much better than that, and Ciccio Camarda, welcome to the goal scoring sheet in Serie A. It's a place he definitely deserves to be.
It's interesting that Pio Esposito and Francesco Camarda have both scored their first goals in Serie A in the same week. Because they might end up leading the Italian national team's front line for many years to come together.
Absolutely, and there has been a lack of talent up front for Italy, and these guys just seem to come together at the same time.
Yeah.
The importance of coming together is huge. Genoa 0, Lazio 3. This was a thumping by Lazio, who changed around their system over here to get 3 points, which they only got once so far this season before this game. 3-0 clean victory for them. Genoa still winless this season, and they are sinking low and low into the table. Pisa 0, Fiorentina 0 in the first Florence derby in like 36 years. The accurate stat will come later, guys. But this had so many weird refereeing decisions. A couple goals disallowed for Moise Kean, 2 goals disallowed for offside, an amazing goal disallowed for Meister, which was very, very controversial, and a really controversial handball by Pongracic, and a penalty not given to Pisa. So a lot to speak about over there, and little of it is to do with football.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm wearing black today, to mourn the robbery of Pisa.
And Meister
scored what would have been the goal of the week.
Absolutely.
But,
Absolutely.
But yeah, it got disallowed for a handball that didn't affect the game whatsoever.
Yeah, what can we do? Como 1, Cremonese 1. Cremonese still undefeated, and once again it was Mr. Muscle Man Baschirotto with a header that got them the equalizer. And guys, guess who scored for Como?
Guess.
Nico Paz, of course, as always. Parma 2, Torino 1 for Parma's first victory of the season, and it was for we're calling him Mr. Football with a U. El Football. Pellegrino with a doppietta. I believe he's already scored a doppietta against Torino last season. He had a helmet on, it was just pure vibes. But Cyril Ngonge scored a goal in this game. He scored a banger of a goal.
Crazy goal.
Really impressive stuff by Parma. They looked much better in this game.
And to see them going for it as well, Parma. Like when they were tied, I believe he took out Oristano and brought on Benedicak, something like that. A very offensive move, keeping Cutrone and Pellegrino on.
Damn.
To really go for the victory. Yeah.
Jeez Louise, Cuesta really took those Catenaccio claims to heart. He took them seriously. Sassuolo 3, Udinese 1 is the final game we will be covering, as Sassuolo are back and their front three are back and firing. Goal of the week.
Yes. Please, you first, brother.
Of course, I have gone for Cyril Ngonge's goal against Parma for Torino. I just thought that the feint and the finish into the top corner, I believe from distance, was really, really good. And I wasn't quite sure Cyril Ngonge had it in his locker, but he did. And that, to me, when you send a defender flying like that and straight after he hit the top corner, brilliant. Goal of the week.
And apparently Baroni is very aware of the player's quality, and he has said that he expects more from a player of the caliber of Cyril Ngonge. And to be fair, we have seen him have some game-changing moments in his career. With Hellas Verona, he was one of the reasons they had stayed up that season, with Noslin as well.
Yeah, the reason.
Yeah. The reason, yeah, probably. Fair enough. Yes, my goal, that was a great goal. Absolutely loved it. Loved the chop, loved the curler. Pure, as solo of a goal as it's going to get. Unless you're Kamaldeen Sulemana.
What? You're telling me that wasn't Lookman that scored that goal?
I know, right? Absolute shades of Lookman over there. Honestly, how do you even begin to describe this goal? There was an error from Adzic, who lost the ball at the end of the first half. He nicked it. He took on a man, turned right, turned left, deleted another man, eventually cut back inside from out of the area, shot low and hard, and beat the goalkeeper. Does that sum it up nicely?
Yes,
something like that.
But go watch it.
Go watch it.
It's
a beautiful goal.
We're just talking
Sulemana.
about not knowing someone's next move, Sulemana, and that's the thing. If he can improve as much as other players have improved at Atalanta, then he'll be one hell of a player, man. Because that was as refined as a winger's goal you'll see. Brilliantly taken.
Yes, he was at Southampton with Juric, as we often mention. He's only 23 years old, so he can definitely improve from this point on. Take this as a stepping stone. You know, he started off the season very well, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Kamaldeen the Dream is what we're calling him.
Absolutely. Don't forget, guys, we are recording this episode on Tuesday the 30th of September. It's currently 6:30. In 15 minutes, Atalanta will kick off against Club Brugge in Bergamo. At 9 o'clock tonight, there's Inter against Slavia Prague. And tomorrow there's Napoli against Sporting and Villarreal against Juve. And then the following day, we have Bologna Freiburg, Roma against Lille, and Fiorentina against Sigma boys. Sigma Olomouc.
Sigma Olomouc, their names. Where are they from? Sigma I doubt you know that, right?
From Sigma.
From Czech Republic. Interesting.
Oh, okay. Well, a must-win game for Fiorentina, and a loss over there is a nightmare for Pioli and a sacking for Pioli.
A potential sacking.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say, because at this point, they need some good news. You know, they need to prove that they can do something. You know what I mean? They've got 3 points in the league from 5 games. They're down in 16th. They've got there are only 3 teams with fewer points than them, and they're Pisa, Genoa, and Lecce.
Yeah.
It's not a very good start.
No, it's a disaster for Fiorentina. Nick, give us a scream, brother. Or don't.
No need for a scream today, brother.
Yeah.
I'm back.
He's
Yes,
back.
sir.
You can hear him. Tell everyone
Hello,
hello.
everyone. Miss you all. Miss you in a better mic kind of quality standard, rather than just screaming at you guys constantly and needing to shout whenever I need to talk to you. But it feels good to be back. Enjoyed
Nice.
the one game I watched last week, which was obviously the Milan one. Excited to talk about that.
Yeah.
And enjoyed the episode.
I watched the United game last week. The
let's
United
not,
game last week.
let's not
He's not
talk
doing
about
that.
that.
He's not
Interesting,
doing
huh? High line with Maguire.
Terrorist
doing
ball,
that.
bro. So bad, so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, that striker, Brighton striker, looked. It was like he was having a field day, man.
Alright,
Brentford, sorry,
What is
Brentford.
this? What is this? What is this
Absolutely.
Premier League spotlight?
You're right.
Back
you're
into
right.
it, Nick.
The only reason I had it on was because it was at 1:30, and Serie A doesn't start yet.
Fair
enough,
You're
fair
waiting till
enough.
3, you know.
Fair enough. I panicked for a second. Nick, it's great to have
Thank
you
you so
back,
much.
brother. We will give a massive shout out, of course, to our media partners, Benevo Bid. Check out our link in bio to bid on autographed items from top players, including match-issued kits. Check out the link in bio. Most of the proceeds go to charity. Massive shout out to our boys Joseph and Ed. If you're new here, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, and rate us 5 stars on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. With the weekly episodes covering every single match, every single team, every single week, and also have a weekly additional episode called Tactics Imperium by our own football analyst Gianluca Lea. If you really love us, become a patron. It's $3.99 a month, and you'll be added to a Discord channel with 50 plus like-minded legends with multiple channels for different discussions, and you can win a free kit of your choice if you win our Fantasy League.
Which takes us to our Fantasy League standings. Currently, Inter, your mom, is in first place with 401 points, followed by SSC Dries Nuts with 387 points. Then MRN is third, followed by Keen Friend, Katena Choke Me Maxi, absolutely agree, Chic Retegi, Corto Muso, Lotito, Vendere Vattene, Ardons Hardon, and Loco Choco Saul Coco.
Amazing,
Those are our top 10.
amazing. Just a correction, it's Keen Fiend.
Keen Fiend, what did I say? Keen
Keen
Friend?
Friend.
Keen
This is
Friend.
what are you gonna name your your Fanta team? Keen Friend.
Keen Friend, I
Keen
think I'm going to
Friend.
go for, yes.
Leo, my buddy. I don't think so.
Lautaro, mate.
Let's start off with Milan 2, Napoli 1. I want to do the introduction and the play-by-play, and then we have a voice note from our very own patron and friend Tyson. And before we get into more of the Milan side of things and how the game shaped up from a tactical perspective, I do want to hear more from a Napoli fan before we
yes.
get into this. But I will start off like this. Obviously, it was Milan 2, Napoli 1. There was the curva back for Milan in a sold-out arena where Galliani was in the stands, Gattuso was in the stands, and Oscar-winning actor Jared Leto was in the stands as well.
I have to admit, he gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Let
bro.
me tell you, he's a weird guy, but because of that, he can play weird roles, bro. So firstly, he's a singer as well in a band.
Yeah.
I forgot what they're called.
I can check that, actually.
But he's something Mars, fucking 500 million Jupiters to Mars. But he also
30 seconds to Mars, something like that. No.
Let's double check that for people call us stupid. He played, I forgot the name of the character he
30
played
seconds to Mars.
in Dallas Buyers Club. And he played the role of a trans person with AIDS. And he was fantastic, man. He was unbelievable. Controversial, of course, but unbelievable performance by him, and he won an Oscar for it. And welcome to the San Siro. You can enjoy it until 2027, brother, because they're knocking that shit down.
Apparently so. Devastating. Apparently everything has been agreed. Which is almost hard to come to terms with for the reason that, of course, we are Milan fans, we're attached to the stadium, and the fact that it's been a long time coming, and they've been talking about it since we're kids, bro.
Absolutely.
Moving stadium or modernizing or whatever. But we'll see. Apparently,
It's just like
everything
they're
is
gonna
approved.
break it down. I don't mind the relocation, whatever, but San Siro. You know
I
what
know,
I
right?
mean? They better rename it San Siro.
Fun fact: it will forever be on my arm. I have
Yes,
it
sir.
tattooed. Yeah.
Yes, sir. This was An Allegri versus Conte game, not the first time we've seen this. Conte has 5 wins over Allegri. Allegri now has 2 wins over Conte, and they've got 2 draws against each other as well. Allegri lined up in a 3-5-2 formation with Maignan in goal, a backline of Pavlovic, Gabbia and Fikayo Tomori, Estupinian on the left, Salemakers on the right, and the midfield 3 of Rabiot, Modric and Fofana, with a front 2 of Chrissy P and Santi G. For Conte's men, it was their 4-1-4-1 formation, which looked like a 3-2-5 for a lot of the game, really. Meret in goal and a backline of Di Lorenzo, Marianucci, Juan Jesus and Gutierrez. 2 very risky choices by Conte there. Lobotka in the number 6 role, Politano on the right, KDB on the left with McTominay and Anguissa in the middle and Højlund up front. Of course, Milan started the season with that loss over Cremonese and have since won all their games in a row without conceding a goal. Napoli, on the flip side, have won all their games up until this very moment, apart from the Manchester City game. Milan started quick, Milan started strong, Milan scored in the 3rd minute. It was instantly Pulisic 1v1 essentially against Marianucci, and Pulisic cooked him completely, just knocked the ball forward twice, outpaced him, outdid him, spotted a Salemakers run in after taking it to the byline. Salemakers comes in and finishes into essentially an empty net. And the stadium goes crazy. 3 minutes in, Milan are beating the defending champions 1-0. Insane stuff. 31st minute, on the half-hour mark, Pavlovic gets the ball, bulldozes forward, plays the ball into the middle. Fofana cushions the ball down to Pulisic. Pulisic sweeps the ball into the back of the net. Gorgeous play by Milan. Another goal, they go 2-0 up. Stadium again is going absolutely mental. It is a dream for Milan, who are outplaying Napoli at this point. Milan enter halftime in full control. Napoli saw a bit more of the ball towards the last 10 minutes, but Maignan and the defense did a good job. Milan were really compact. 55th minute, there was an absolute game changer as Estupinian dragged Di Lorenzo down in the box as he had an open goal in front of him. The referee initially gave a penalty and a yellow card. However, after further protests and the VAR team spoke to the referee checked VAR and handed Estupinian a direct red card. Again, Di Lorenzo did have clear sight of goal. It was a low ball across the face of goal. It was essentially a guaranteed goal, and you could see Estupinian or Estupere with essentially Di Lorenzo's entire shirt in his hand. You could clearly see the pull. KDB steps up, converts, Milan make an instant substitution, and from now we know after that moment, Jake and I look eyes and go, Allegri ball now.
Yeah.
Now it's time for Allegri ball. That proper Allegri ball we're all used to. And from that moment until the 95th minute was absolute Allegri ball by Milan. Napoli did have a few chances. People will say Napoli dominated because they had 66% possession, all these shots away, of course. But there were only a few moments that Napoli really, really threatened in my eyes. And that was the Neres long-range effort that Modric headed onto the crossbar.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that Modric took a touch over there, that he got his head to it.
Yeah.
He's a warrior, Modric, man. It's crazy.
Vital,
I've
bro.
never seen anything like what I've seen this season so far from Modric.
Yeah,
man.
no,
He's blowing me away, to be honest.
It baffles me that he's 40.
It's
I know.
unbelievable.
Like, if you're hearing us repeating ourselves over and over, and you're getting annoyed, how are they always talking about Modric's age and how he moves, and you haven't watched Modric play for Milan yet, just go do it, because you need to check that shit out for yourself, because that shit is not real.
Honestly,
bro. We're
it's
not
like-
talking about his technique, we're talking about his movement, man.
I sent you a clip, Nick, of him pressing late on into the game, just to give you an idea. He's so nimble. And the fact that he's pressing and he's changing direction so quickly after the 85th minute, which is bonkers. And you've been running all game because you're down to 10 men. The second half, this paints the picture pretty well. Milan in the second half had 33% ball possession. an XG of 0.00 with 0 big chances created, 0 total shots, 3 goalkeeping saves only, and 137 passes, and somehow only 5 tackles.
Yeah.
So, you can understand how the game went in the second half. It was just a whole lot of contain, like, and a whole lot of running and ball chasing and trying to win duels, etc., which is exhausting for someone in his prime, let alone someone who's 40 years old.
And you're saying that part. What you're not saying is in the first half, Milan were pressing so high.
Yeah.
And they were using Modric a lot of the time to press. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing using Modric to press the right side of the pitch?
Yeah.
But they were doing it, and Modric was pressing, and it didn't make a difference. Let's start off by listening to what Tyson has to say. Tyson is a Napoli fan, and I do want to get his 2 cents before we start absolutely blowing the shit out of Allegri's Milan. So let's start off with that. Take it away, Tice.
Yes. Till he finds it, by the way, I have some... Okay, you're good to go. Let's go.
Hey, so just want to give you some takeaways from a Napoli POV from the game. First off, hats off to Milan. You guys were the better side. You guys deserved to win. Even with 10 men, you guys defended unbelievably well.
You're okay.
And you guys just looked amazing, to be honest. But just wanted to mention some points about the game yesterday. So first of all, I really think Conte threw Marianucci under the bus. It was such a big game yesterday, and Boikema was on the bench. He was available, and you can really see that Marianucci was so nervous to have his first proper Serie A start away from Napoli in the San Siro with the Curva returning, which was so loud throughout the game. You can really see in the beginning minutes that Marianucci is so nervous. You can see it in his facial expressions when he's passing the ball, when he's under pressure. And obviously, you could probably say 2 of the goals he is to maybe blame for it. And I also think it's cowardly that Conte did not take him off at halftime. He just kept throwing him under the bus, kind of. I think Boikema should have had a chance to come on. And I'm not even blaming Marianucci because I think he's a great player. I think he has a lot of potential. But maybe Conte could have integrated him into playing last week against Pisa or one of the games before that, because I really think him just getting fed to the sharks like that in his first professional start for Napoli is just cowardly, in my opinion. It's unacceptable. Then I also think Di Lorenzo's form is a big issue right now. I think already in the City game, the red card kind of was the cherry on top. Then the mistake in last week's game, he almost made Pisa score. And then I think today he was once again terrible. And it's just a problem because I think since we didn't sign anyone in the summer to replace him, I just think it's really a big issue because Di Lorenzo really needs to come back to form ASAP if we want to get back on a winning streak. I also think the midfield is broken. I don't know why Conte insists on keeping to play McTominay on the wing. I know the formation right now kind of works. We got some scrappy wins, but I really think a simple 4-3-3 would actually just benefit the whole squad so much more. We have so many talented backups on the bench, whether it's for the midfield or the wings, that we can technically play a 4-3-3. I know kind of Conte is building the midfield around KDB, but after a few games now, I really think that's not the ideal way to do it. I think KDB has looked a bit sluggish. He has looked a bit slow. I don't think he's in top form yet. And you can simply just build a midfield around McTominay, KDB, and Anguissa or Lobotka and rotate around. We have so many options on the bench as well. And for the wings, we got Lang, we got Neres, we got so many talented players who can play on the wings. We have Elmas as well now. And I think a simple 4-3-3 would fix so many things for the squad. I think it just benefits it so much more. Then I also want to give a positive to Conte. I think he's really starting to learn how to rotate the team. Not to learn, but he's really doing it more. He didn't used to do it before at former clubs, and props to him for actually experimenting with that more. I think the substitutions yesterday were actually quite okay. except the I think that Boykema should have come on for Marianucci, but that's a different story. But I think all the other substitutions were actually fine. I'm happy that Neres came on, who almost scored a worldie. I'm happy that Lang came on, who looked creative, even if I feel he's a bit too expressive sometimes and he tries to do so much himself. But I think that's the type of player he is anyways. He's a bit of a selfish player, which is fine. So then we have the thing with Luka, obviously. I think he hasn't adapted to Conte's style of play so much yet. And I think his development, like he had all summer with Conte, I think his development is just so much slower than everyone expected. And the thing is, he's not the youngest player, as everyone seems to think. He's in his mid-20s now. And he has to adapt much faster if he wants to be a starter for this Conte team. Despite the result in the table, I still think Napoli is better than Milan. I mean, right now we're joint first. I'm not too worried because I think Milan's obviously won yesterday, and Milan has great mentality. But I think there will be games like the Cremonese game where they'll slip up still, and I think we're just still Napoli's champion mentality will overcome this Milan side. But it's going to be very close. It's going to be a very fun season. I'm very, very excited. Yeah, a Napoli and Milan title challenge would be glamorous, would be fun to watch. And I'm just so excited for the return game at the Maradona now. I think that's going to be another exciting one. But yeah, those are my thoughts and my takeaways to the game yesterday. Some positives, some negatives. But yeah, that's it really.
Snaps for Thijs.
You're the man, Thijs. Well
Yep,
done. Well
absolutely.
spoken. Many good points. I think we should start off by discussing the whole Marianucci situation. So he did give Marianucci and Rodriguez their debuts. Rodriguez out
Gutierrez.
of... Gutierrez, sorry, yes.
I see where you got confused.
Gutierrez. That was out of necessity, though, the Gutierrez debut,
Yeah.
because, of course, they had many injuries. There was Oliveira and Spinazzola who were both out. Marianucci, Beukema, as Tyson correctly said, was an option.
Was a choice. Yeah.
However, I don't think Conte was happy with what he saw from Beukema against Pisa. They did concede 2, I believe, right? 2 against Pisa. Yes, they did. They won 3-2 exactly. So maybe he decided against it.
Yeah,
But
that's 100%.
Yeah.
He did.
I could tell as well during the game that Marianucci seemed a little bit nervous, and of course you would be, right? But I guess that's why these players are in the squad, right? There are two sides to it. Is he poorly managed, or is Marianucci meant to handle this moment better? What do you think?
So I don't think it's a good idea to throw a player under the bus in that way when it comes to giving them their first start in the San Siro against Allegri's Milan. I think experience plays a huge part over there, and okay, maybe Beukema didn't have the best game against an unorthodox Pisa, but at the end of the day, that's why you want experienced players on your side, right? You want experienced players to be able to play against an Allegri system. And Marianucci got the short end of the stick because stylistically, the way that Milan set up to stretch this Napoli side meant that Marianucci had a lot of 1v1 time against Pulisic. And you saw that happen in the first goal. So Allegri has the 3-5-2, which stretches Napoli's press. Lobotka and Anguissa step out. Gaps are opened, and that leaves Marianucci 1v1 against Pulisic, which is an absolute... It's a mismatch.
But that's a tactical issue, not a personal issue, right?
It's a tactical issue, but I would rather have a lion there than a calf.
Yes, but is Beukema a lion? Because I think he would have also found it tough in that situation.
He would, but come on, we're talking about Marianucci and Beukema here. Of course, Marianucci, I'm not saying that he's an awful player and this is the end of it, and Beukema is some kind of superstar. but I think anyone in the right mind would choose the more experienced defender in this case
Yeah,
to defend
yeah.
against Christian Pulisic and against Allegri's Milan. So I think over there Tyson was correct to say that Conte has started rotating. I think it shows that he just started rotating because it seemed a bit irrational. I know they have Sporting this week, but and they just lost to City, so I get why he'd do that because they need to beat Sporting. But it's just a wild decision in my eyes to bench Belkema and start Marionici against Milan. I don't know, and it obviously didn't work out.
Perhaps the smart thing to do would have been to rotate against Pisa, even though with their full team they only managed a narrow victory. Laurent scored at the end, so it wasn't actually as narrow a victory as it comes as the scoreline suggests.
Yeah.
Yes. Di Lorenzo, bro. Di Lorenzo, yes, is having a bit of a poor run at the moment. His form has dipped, and he's made a few mistakes, and clearly it's affected his confidence, right? I have a question about, because obviously I mean the only thing they can do right now is wait for him to come back to form. They don't really have any alternatives on the bench, right? So he raises an interesting point about the 4-3-3. And to be honest, I had this in my notes for both Juve and for both Napoli, because I think a 4-3-3 could suit both teams actually, funnily enough.
Yeah.
And probably even Milan as well, to be honest. But let's stick to Napoli for now. A 4-3-3 would make the most, as you correctly said, out of Neres, Lang, and Elmas, who at the moment are being brought in as solutions rather than being played as important pieces to a system. Di Lorenzo, will it benefit him being a right back instead of a right wing back? For sure, right?
100%. He'll get caught out of position way less.
I think a 4-3-3 might be the way to go over here for Napoli, especially with the fact that their centre backs at the moment are proving to be quite injury prone / unreliable / raw, not unreliable, raw. Let's call them raw or new.
No, I agree completely, and I don't think that the main reason I would look at Napoli playing a 4-3-3 formation or some variation of that as something that would suit Di Lorenzo. As in, yes, it would suit Di Lorenzo. Di Lorenzo's been playing as a right centre back or a right wing back. I know that Politano's been taking the right wing back role quite a bit, but I think Di Lorenzo should be that defensive right back that offers balance, while Spinazzola's the more offensive left back. But I think the main thing that I see over here is, I don't want to sound harsh, but I'm watching KDB play. I'm actively watching him play football for Napoli, and he's not the same player that he was. It's clear and it's evident. So while he's trying to force McTominay, Anguissa, Lobotka, and KDB all on the pitch at the same time, he's missing out on a Neres. He's missing out on a Lang. He's missing out on a game-changing player. And dare I say, McTominay hasn't been finding the same space and hasn't been having the same impact as he had last season with KDB on the pitch. I think McTominay, part of the reason that he worked so well is because he had someone stretching the left and creating space for him.
Not crowding it.
Not crowding it. I see the vision. I see what he's trying to do. I think that Napoli could really use a game-changing player, especially with Lukaku out as well, because with Lukaku out, they lost that directness, they lost that verticality.
But they have so many game changers, bro. Like if you, I mean, granted this game, they were against a very difficult low block. I mean, McTominay, Anguissa have both won games for Napoli. Højlund has scored.
But a game changer is someone that turns something into nothing. Like okay, McTominay has scored some great
bicycle
game-winning
kicks,
goals, the bicycle kick.
exactly,
Yes, what did Neres do when he came on? He cut inside, unleashed that rocket, and he almost scored the goal of the season. That kind of game, Kvaratskhelia, you know?
Neres is way too good to be sitting on the bench. That I definitely agree with. With De Bruyne, what you're getting right now, for example, is Conte subbed him out in this game, and he refused to shake his hands. And then Conte spoke after the game and he said, I hope that De Bruyne was annoyed at the result, not at me. Because if he's annoyed at me, then he's going to have a problem.
He's dealing with the wrong person.
He's dealing with the wrong person or something like that. And Quagliarella recently commented about this, and he said that when he was at Juve being coached by Conte, he was frustrated that he had subbed him out, and he passed a comment saying something along the lines of, can you mix up your numbers a little bit? You seem to always be pulling up the 27. And Conte didn't hear him. And then later he asked him, like, what did you say? And he said, no, nothing. I was just swearing because I was frustrated. And apparently Conte just insulted him in front of the entire squad. That's how he dealt with it. So Conte doesn't really give a shit. And if you are going to oppose him like that, he'll just bench you. He doesn't give a shit who you are. That's the thing. So you've got an ego, you've got a personality, you've got someone who was obviously brought in being promised the role of the star man. And then you have last season's MVP in there as well, followed by Stanislav Lobotka, who keeps all the balance and orchestrates everything between the defense and midfield. Then you have Anguissa, who's vital for box-to-box and transitions and can even chip in with a goal. And then you have Politano, who works tirelessly on the other side. So who the hell are you going to bench? I think the only fair thing to do here would be to bench the new guy who's just come in, KDB, and let him find his form slowly. But I feel like that will cause problems.
No, you rotate effectively because you're playing 3 competitions. That's what you do. But because when you sign Lang, Neres, Højlund, Lucca, and all of these guys, KDB, you're signing all of these guys. You're not signing them all to start every single game.
Yeah.
But you need to. There are some games where I envision KDB playing more than Anguissa, for example. So you take on that role for that game. But I think when you have 2 players like Lang and Neres on the bench, those guys that can go 1v1, at least have one of these guys, one player that can go 1v1 against a man, take him on and have a crack at goal. Because it seems like Politano's the only other player that can do that, but they seem to be using him more for his industry than for his skills in front of goal. I think if they make that adjustment and they sort out, you can't make a decision based on hurting De Bruyne's feelings or fucking causing that problem. You know what I mean?
That's a team first.
And exactly, and Conte knows this damn well. And I think what I'm saying, we're gonna start seeing.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see that immediately after those comments.
Let's keep in mind that we are only 5 games in. It's still extremely early. I believe Milan at some point under Fonseca were up high in the table. No. Early on in the season, I don't know. Whatever. Maybe the Fonseca season was a fever dream.
Jeez, but I don't know why you're bringing this shit up, bro. On to the next.
But yes, basically, anything can happen. We don't even know if these 2 teams will be challenging for the title. We only assume so from what we've seen so far, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I do believe that KDB will improve as the season goes on. He's only played 5 matches in Serie A. Same goes for Højlund, Lucca, and Beukema and Marianucci and Gutierrez are all new to the team, so obviously this isn't indicative of anything. To Tyson's point that Milan are likely to slip up, so are Napoli. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, he's taking it personally here.
That's all.
Yes, perhaps. Napoli, I remember that season with Juve where I used to work at a restaurant, and the guy that I used to go out for a cigarette, there was always this Napoli fan. And he was like the president of Napoli Fan Association Malta. Oof. And I went out, this guy's like Maradona signed shirt, Hamsik signed shirt, the lot, Cavani signed shirt. And I'll never forget him when Napoli threw it away against Juve, bro. That one season of Higuain, 36 goals. I'll never forget that. But anyway, let's get back to this. Just some more like tactical things that I noticed. Like I mentioned earlier, there were a lot of situations where Lobotka and Anguissa stepping out and the gaps opening up, leaving Pulisic in a 1v1 versus Marianucci. That of course happened in the opener, which we saw, but also in the second goal, we saw Anguissa slow to close down Pavlovic as the Serb drove the ball upfield, laid it off to Fofana, and Pulisic killed it. That is the classic inviting press and exploiting space that Milan have been going for this season. Also, when we look at the way that Milan were set up to play in this game, Milan looked made for this specific tactical context that played out in this game. Allegri's side, Milan want a big pitch to attack. They want space to run in with powerful ball carriers. They want the likes of Rabiot, Fofana, Pulisic, Salamakers, Leao, and Nkunku, soon these guys as well. For example, around the 26th minute, Fofana had that fucking 75-meter dash. That is classic Allegri ball, and that we see a lot from Rabiot. That's why he loves Rabiot. And then when forced deep, that's where Milan showed vulnerability. It's when we saw Estupinian get his red card, and obviously giving away that clumsy penalty. And that just highlights how Milan's defenders, apart from Gabbia, they're not made to defend in a high line. They're recovery defenders. Tomori's a recovery defender. Estupinian is, Salamakers is, and Strahinja is as well.
So they are meant to defend in a high line, is what you mean?
They're not supposed to defend deep.
Deep, exactly. Yes. So
how defending low?
Yes. We did see Estupinian's mistake when they were defending low. However, I must admit that Napoli couldn't penetrate Milan when Milan were defending low, and that's all because of the system, right? And it's all because of the awareness of the centre backs, the help from the midfield, the compact nature of the forwards pressing the players to force them to rotate the ball around unnecessarily. I think that Milan's defense has actually improved a lot in these situations, and you can actually see them becoming fucking smarter, man. You know what I mean? Like you can see. I would have never thought in my life that we'd have Tomori, Gabbia, and Pavlovic keeping essentially a clean sheet from open play against Napoli, who won the league and have improved so much. You know what I mean? And this is the same defense that has made mistakes against minnow sides and threw games for nothing. You know, I mean, they've all made individual mistakes last season. They were taking it in turns, game after game.
Absolutely, the Gabbia slip.
So I do think
Tomori red cards.
The
Strahinja rush of blood
to the head,
over pressing,
literally. But so I do think that Milan are improving at defending deep for sure.
An improvement is certainly there. Now let's drop this tactical shit. Let's drop this over analysis on Napoli, and let's speak as two Milan fans. How good did that feel? How good did that look? And what are your thoughts? Bro, I honestly, as a Milan fan, I haven't been this excited about a season. Not even the season that Milan won the league was I this gassed.
And you're not alone, because at the end of that game, when the final whistle went, Modric was on his knees banging his fists. You could see how much it means to the players, and that can only mean one thing, right? They believe.
Unity, though.
And they're united, but they believe more importantly than anything else. They wouldn't celebrate that hard 5 games into a season if they didn't believe. And Modric said at his birthday party, because we saw the video, right? He said that, thank you very much for wishing me a happy 40th, but the best gift you can give me is a trophy. He said some trophies, by the way. Milan can possibly win 2 this season. So some, I don't know, he wants to win both. What? No, but I think that Milan, from the second that they employed Allegri, I was hopeful, because I am a believer that Milan have a very good team. And they've just been robbed of a good manager for so long now. So if you put a good manager who can really instill the defensive basics, who can really cement those basics home and get just get the basics right, man.
Yeah.
And then transition, work on a few patterns, and then there's a lot of creative expression up front as well. When you have the players that Milan have, like Salamakers is an animal technically as well. He can dribble anyone. I think Salamakers.
You mean Saucemakers, man.
Saladona. Lukaku, Madonna. Leao as well. Leao had a moment on a counter-attack after Napoli had just taken a free kick, I believe it was. They had a set piece. And Leao broke on the counter. And you see him running, and you see Napoli's defense desperately running back 7 to box him in. It goes to show how much Conte respects Leao and his transition, and how strong and powerful he can be.
And Napoli have PTSD as well after he took on their entire team and squared the ball to Giroud.
Exactly.
League. I believe it was a Champions League.
So that was the best thing for me, seeing the players' reaction to the victory, and seeing that they believe and it means so much to them and they're so united.
Absolutely, man. United. Absolutely. Because, and the Curva are back.
Yes.
And that's fucking huge. And seeing them interact with the players, amazing. And so much respect to the Curva for putting aside this whole, okay, we're not going to bring our banners, we're going to do this, we're going to come support the team. I don't know what means and whatever were used. But I just want the Curva there. And I want the Curva there because the stadium is not the same without them. They sang for 90 minutes. They were so loud. And just as a supporter watching that, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is Milan, man.
Yeah.
This is Milan. They are such a huge part of Milanismo. 10 men, but 11 with the Curva. Galliani in the stands. Players energetic and passionate. Pulisic, back-to-back matches where he scored and assisted.
Can I make a comment
games.
about Pulisic?
Of course you can. You can make 17 million comments about Pulisic,
Indeed,
bro.
This is our show. I can't make comments about anything.
Okay, not anything.
Not anything. There's some words we can't say. Pulisic, every single touch that Pulisic takes means something. Everything he does has intention. The weight on everything. He's not flashy. He's not going to do a 360 fucking spin or whatever. He's not going to do any of this bullshit. He plays like... He kind of... Now, this is a stretch. I'm not comparing the players by any means, but
I love these.
But Kaká had that directness about him. Kaká had that extreme... Like, you get the ball, you have one objective you're going to get...
It's direct.
Being
it's
direct. But every touch without any faff. Without
towards
any bullshit.
goal.
Yes.
Towards goal.
So he'll dribble a
always.
man, but with 2 touches.
Exactly.
You know, he won't do a fucking McGeady spin. Whatever the hell it
McGeady
is.
spins are lit. McGeady spins are lit. Let's
Yes,
let's
I'm a
not
big
slander
fan
McGeady
of
spins.
Pulisic, and I love how direct he is.
Yeah. Salamakers, he's now scored 8 out of 8 Serie A goals, all from open play. Also, this was Milan's fastest league goal since 2024 and the fastest against Napoli since 2009. Just some fun little shit there. Modric, the maestro Modric in the middle of the pitch. He's my dad, he's your dad, he's all our dads, man. Modric is the most important person in the world. He leads Serie A in passes, line-breaking passes, possession won, and interceptions.
That's mental.
You know,
I mean,
and I thought, no, Milan are playing Rabiot and Fofana next to him because they're going to do the running and he's just going to be the regista. They're all doing the running, bro. They're all doing the running. Modric is there intercepting, pressing, and not putting a foot wrong, man.
When we were looking at the system early on, we said, he's playing Fofana and Rabiot literally to run for him. It's true, man. It's the most naive thing we've ever said. Modric does the running himself, man.
Literally.
It's honestly like I don't know what to say about Modric. And it's mind blowing. It's baffling. How does he do it? This is what I was telling Matthew. I told you when we had Zlatan Ibrahimovic at Milan. He was in great shape for a 40-year-old, and we would be like, wow, how high he just kicked the ball. Remember when he raised his leg high and we'd be like, wow, he's 40 and all that. But he looked like a player who wasn't mobile.
Yes.
You give him the ball, he's not going to dribble anyone. He's not going to, he's not going to outpace anyone. And it was very clear to see. And you'd bring him on in the last 10 minutes, and we were already impressed by that. But this is a whole new level.
It's ridiculous.
It's 90 minutes non-stop.
It's ridiculous.
He was the best player on the pitch, and he was the fittest player on the pitch as well. Till the end, he was the one moving the most. I don't know how he does it. It's unbelievable.
And
it makes me wonder how many...
Modric.
Like, is he here for a season? Is he here for 2 seasons? 3?
He'll play till like 42, 43, man.
I think so.
I
the thing that
genuinely-
might end him is an injury, but let's...
I just want to point out a few things that I also noticed about Napoli that weren't brought up by Tyson. Especially, so I did feel like Napoli were crossing the ball a lot. They had a total of 35 crosses and only 7 of them were accurate. Now, of course, a cross is what won them the penalty.
Yeah.
But then, in the second half, when Conte narrowed Gutierrez to reduce that space for Milan's counters, McTominay was subbed off for Elmas, and they were still spamming crosses. And like McTominay is the kind of guy to get his head.
But they had Luka on the box, I guess.
But they had Luka, to be fair, yeah. But there was a real cross-heavy approach, which when Milan were defending so low, I don't know if that's always the best idea. Like I was way more scared when Elmas was going left, going right, in the middle and threatening outside Milan's box. I felt more in danger there.
Same here, and especially Neres and even Allegri. You know, when Neres took a shot the first time, you could see Allegri losing his mind, getting frustrated, saying close him down. And then the second time he shot and he hit the post, he kicked the ball away.
Yeah.
He was so frustrated about that.
Such high standards.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's enough about that game. Now I think Nick, can we get a time check from you after that game?
50 minutes, okay. We've been an hour talking, that's crazy.
Jeez Louise. Okay, speedrun.
And thank you for listening. So, Juve and Atalanta, they played and they drew 1-1. And this isn't the first time that this has happened, because in 70 official meetings between these teams, Juve have won 44 games. And there have been 20 draws and 6 Atalanta victories. Juve have not won at home in Serie A against Atalanta since a 2-0 victory on the March 14th of 2018 it was. With goals from Gonzalo Higuain and Blaise Matuidi.
Blaze up, baby, blaze up.
Since then, 7 matches have been played, ending in 5 draws and 2 wins for Atalanta, yes. So, first of all, Atalanta were in orange and Juve were in blue. So I didn't know what I was watching for the first 15 minutes because I was totally thrown off by that. Because Juve had an orange kit recently.
In fact, Nick
Yeah.
got confused at a point. Was it Nick or Teo? No, I think Teo. When Atalanta almost scored. No, Juve almost scored. And I'm like, I think I should bet on a Juve win.
Yeah.
He's like, why did you see that and say that you're going to bet on a Juve win? Because Juve almost scored, bro.
Yeah, literally. So, yes, Juve start. Let's read the lineups, of course. So, we have in goal for Juventus was Di Gregorio in their 3-4-2-1 formation with Gatti, Bremer, and Kelly at the back. Kalulu on the right, Cambiaso on the left with Coop Miners and Thuram in the middle. Adzic and Yildiz playing off the shoulders of Openda. For Atalanta, it was Carnesecchi in goal with Ahanor, Jim City and Kosuno at the back. Ahanor, of course, being 17 years old. A good week for youngsters with Pio and Camarda, and Ahanor had a very good game here as well. Zappacosta on the left, Bellanova on the right with Pasalic and Darun in the middle, and Sulemana and Samardzic playing off the shoulders of Kristovic. Now, Juve started strongly. Kalulu hit the post immediately, just a minute in. And they pressed a lot in the opening 20 minutes, but they couldn't score. Just before halftime, Adzic lost the ball cheaply and naively, allowing Kamaldeen Sulemana to dribble past defenders like they were training cones and fire Atalanta ahead. In the second half, Juve looked sluggish. They looked tired, to be honest. I think Juve need a break, and it's only been 5 games, but they've had such crazy emotional games that I think they actually need a break. Kristovic had a terrible miss in the 51st minute after Pasalic played him through, and I'm talking about terrible miss.
Awful.
Failed to hit the target at all in a one-on-one situation. Juve really struggled to create chances up until the 78th minute when substitute Cabal, who had replaced Bremer, who was injured and I believe might miss the Champions League game as well.
Yeah, more to be... We'll find out soon, basically.
He pounced on Kosunu's mistake. Kosuno, I felt bad for him, man. He went to clear a ball. They were defending so well until this point. He went to clear the ball and he kicked it behind him.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst things in the world. And Cabal finds himself over there and just finishes the move and scores his first goal for Juve.
Yeah.
Shortly after, Atalanta went down to 10 men when Darun was sent off for a second yellow, but Juve couldn't capitalize. There was a big miss by McKennie in the 87th minute from point blank range, perhaps a little bit too close to the keeper after Kalulu had knocked down Zegrova's corner, and then there was a good save at the end by Carnesecchi on Zegrova's deflected shot. Zegrova looked very lively coming on. Bro, last year, Juve started the season with 3 straight victories, then the draws started.
In fact, I was gonna say, it's mirroring what we saw with Juve under Motta. Not in how they're playing their football, but the fact that it seems like we're going to go on another streak of, but good teams don't lose. This is where bad teams and bad managers lose games, and they're not losing, they're drawing. But they're in a slump at the moment, right, Juve? This isn't the Juve that we saw in the opening few matches of the season. They played Atalanta as the last preseason match in a warm-up for the season, and they beat them 2-1. I believe Duzan scored there. It just seems like, for some reason, after that Inter game, and then after that Borussia Dortmund game, the 4-4 as well, that they simply haven't recovered physically after those tests. And that has in turn affected them with their 1-1 draw against that tricky Hellas Verona team, which I guess Hellas are giving a lot of teams trouble at the moment. So you could kind of call it a write-off over there. But then at home to Atalanta, a team with so many injuries, with Juric after bloody 13 years under Gasperini or whatever, that is a game you expect to win. And at home in that stadium, I think it was really disappointing. But they didn't deserve to win. They didn't deserve to win that game. Atalanta made one mistake and they conceded from it.
That's the
and
reality.
Atalanta were 1-0 up for the majority of the game.
Yeah. That's very true. And it's not like the fixtures are going to let up at all. They have Villarreal. They have Milan after Como, then Real Madrid, then Lazio, Udinese, the unbeaten Cremonese after that. It's a tough stretch, of course, but time will tell whether this is a kind of like just a difficult period of mental and physical fatigue, or if there's a deeper issue. Personally, this is what I was going to tell you about the formation, by the way, bro. So Bremer went off with an injury that wasn't serious in the last game. It wasn't serious, let's just say that.
So he's fit for Milan, you're saying, this weekend?
He might be.
Tomori won't be, probably.
Really?
Adductor.
Okay.
Oh, groin.
I was going to say. So they're a little bit thin in the centre-back department, Juve. Does Tudor trust his defenders enough to go a 4-3-3, perhaps, or a 4-2-3-1? I think Thuram does a lot of work on a double pivot. Perhaps it might work with a double pivot there. They can play two centre backs. Cambiaso, I mean, it's not like he's been playing extremely well. You know what I mean?
He was better.
He was better this game, but it's not like he's changing the game. You know, you can't afford to pop him in at left back instead of left wing back. Kalulu will probably be better as a right back. Even though he puts in an honourable shift, I think, as a wing back as well. Not to mention, and then you have the likes of Yildiz and Zegrova and Conceição, who can all feature in a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 with Jonathan David in the pocket and Openda or Vlahovic up top. There are many solutions they can do, I feel. I feel like this 3 at the back system might be limiting them a bit.
Not only the 3 at the back system, I feel like if you're playing a double pivot, and this double pivot is Kefren Thuram, one of the best versatile midfielders in the league. The guy next to him is Cope Miners, who had a much better game this game. He was a lot more involved. He wasn't invisible as he's been in the past, of course, because he's playing against his former team, Atalanta. He has a chip on his shoulder. But when you put a player that is struggling so much in a double pivot, your team's gonna bleed down the middle. And your team can't bleed down the middle, man. You're better off your team bleeding down a wing than down the middle. And in fact, man, when Juve lose possession, they're completely the middle is open.
That's true.
It's completely open. I feel like I've been seeing teams really pack midfield, man, and really pack the midfield, and those are the teams that I'm seeing getting more and more success. This is like the same issue with United, for example, who insist on playing Bruno Fernandes in the double pivot, and he's their best player, but he's not a player in the double pivot. The same as Milan with Reinders last season. Great fucking midfielder. Play him, secondary striker. He's not a fucking player in a double pivot you put next to Fofana. And this is kind of like the same thing we're seeing with Juve over here. I think if you're going to play a double pivot, then you need those two players to have chemistry. You need them to complement each other. And I don't think Kefrem and Cope Miners did that in this game.
Fair enough. of course, when you look at the statistics, it was Juve who dominated. We're talking 67% ball possession, XG of 1.59 with 2 big chances missed, 24 shots taken, and 9 goalkeeping saves for the miraculous Carnesecchi. They played well, but the thing is, it feels like a lot of stat padding, because when it comes to quality chances, they didn't really have many. And I'll say that Juve's goal came about, as you correctly said, through an error, an individual error, and you'll tell me, so did Atalanta's goal. However, Atalanta, they still had a lot of work to do from that situation. It was a moment of brilliance rather than an error. But yeah, interesting. This was a very interesting game. I thought that Juric approached it very well.
Really well.
Juve need the break, but they have to play Milan first, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing on my rant about the midfield. It just sucks so much because they spent so much money on that midfield.
I know, right? And to think that they had Douglas Luiz and Coop Miners, they spent so much on those guys.
Yeah, it's a shame. Know, right? When you get it wrong, man, it can really impact you for a few seasons.
It's true.
And unfortunately, that's what happened. Of course, Locatelli is out as well. Yes, Locatelli is out as well. There's nowhere to be seen. Where the fuck is an unused substitute? And Miretti is, of course, still out as well.
He must have not been at his best.
But Atalanta, I'm positively surprised by the maturity and just the fact that they're still undefeated when everyone, including yourself, has them in 10th by the end of the season. It's impressive by them, to be fair.
They've been quite decent, man, to be honest with you. They've had 7 different goal scorers, which is cool as well. So you can. It's always hard when you have these teams who have many different goal scorers. Like, how do you approach the game? Who's the danger man? You know what I mean? Like
I'm the danger man.
You're the danger man. Yeah, exactly. Only Napoli have done better, by the way, with 8 different goal scorers.
Jeez, okay.
Yeah. Let's see if I have anything else that's interesting. This is interesting, by the way. Conceição last week scored his 4th Serie A goal, and now he ranks 3rd among Portuguese scorers for Juventus, behind Cristiano Ronaldo and Rui Barros.
Oh my God, Rui Barros.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yes, and other than that, I think that's that. So, hard-fought draw.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing some more players get back into this team for Atalanta, man, because there's Scalvini, who's of course out again. There's De Ketelare, who's not full fitness. Same with Hien. Zalewski has been out as well. Of course, there's Ederson. There's Ademola Lookman. So I think brighter days are coming for them.
Agreed.
We'll move on to the next game, and that next game is Cagliari 0, Inter 2. Shouldn't take too long on this one, to be honest. It was Pisacane against Kivu, 2 young managers, 2 former players going head-to-head. Of course, Cagliari had only lost 1 game before this, and it was against Napoli with that last-minute Anguissa goal. Inter, on the other hand, have had a bit of a mixed bag. Won 5-0 against Torino, lost 2 games in a row against 2 Bianconeri sides, but since then they've been getting unconvincing but important victories. Cagliari started in their 3-5-2 formation, Caprile in goal, backline of Luperto, Mina and Pedro. Ober was on the left, Palestra was on the right, Folorunsho, Deola and Adopo in the middle, with Sebastiano Esposito and Belotti starting up front together. 3-5-2 as well for Inter. Martinez starting once again ahead of Sommer. A back three of Akanji, De Vrij and Bastoni. We're seeing some slight rotation over here with De Vrij on the pitch. Luis Henrique on the left ahead of Dumfries. Carlos Augusto on the left ahead of Di Marco. And a midfielder of Barella, Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan, with Thuram and Lautaro starting up top together. So in the 9th minute, Lautaro, the captain who's back in the starting 11, went to the back post and nodded in Bastoni cross. That's now 12 goals against Cagliari for Lautaro, his personal favourite victims. There was a massive injury blow for Cagliari in the first half as Belotti limped off after a collision with Inter's keeper Martinez. Here in my notes I have suspected knee sprain and a setback for Pisaccane's side. Breaking news, he tore his ACL and he's out for the rest of the season. It is not a knee sprain At all.
At all. Stagione finita.
Stagione finita. And that's really sad because he just came back and he scored a doppietta.
I know, man. That's absolutely brutal. How cruel is football, man.
Devastating. Man.
How cruel is life.
How cruel was Hitler? No, I don't know. 53rd minute, inches away from 2-0. Barella teed up Çalhanoğlu, whose first time strike hit the inside of the post. 73rd minute, Cagliari almost made it 1-1. It was a Folarunshaw header from 7 yards out that I believe, yes, he headed onto the post. That was super, super close. But then in the 82nd minute, Pio Esposito finished it after a Di Marco cutback to score his first Serie A goal against his brother Sebastian, of course, storybook stuff. And then later on, Inter hit the post again through Mkhitaryan. Cagliari threw a couple of bodies forward, but nothing to beat Martinez. It seems like because Cagliari hit the post that Cagliari were in the game or Cagliari put up a decent fight against Inter. And it's not to say that they didn't put up a decent fight against Inter, but I do think that after the Sassuolo game where Inter, to me, looked like they were in trouble, and the games before that where Inter were shaky, I thought this was one of their better performances. I thought they did a good job in a tough stadium, to be fair.
I agree. They scored early, which is always important. You remove a lot of the pressure when you do that. They absorbed pressure well. They stayed calm. They dictated the tempo. They didn't really concede anything in the first half, to be honest. In the second half, there were some spells for Cagliari, but to be honest, the second that Cagliari started upping the tempo, Inter got another one back themselves. And what a goal that was, by the way. The build-up play to Pio's goal was really nice.
Down that left side, they're blessed. When they have Bastoni, Barella, Di Marco over there, they're really blessed.
Kivu has shown in this week at least that he's quite mature when it comes to handling a squad, at least.
I agree completely.
He rotated really well, man. He rotated really well with Champions League and everything. He got a clean victory in the Champions League as well. Got a clean victory away to Cagliari, which is a place where many clubs slip up. Of course, we know that very well. So yes, and I'm also starting to see more interesting patterns of play and maybe some new things from Inter. It had been a while since we saw new things from Inter. You know what I mean? With Inzaghi, it was always the same kind of, the same old story, the same old overpowered story. It would work every time, but it was always the same movements, etc., etc. But here,
in fact,
the passage of Pio Esposito's goal was very unique.
It's true. I mean, they were predominantly crosses that got them the win, so it's not exactly.
But it's the build-up to the edge of the box before he squared. It was nice.
And we saw as well Thuram really taking on the role of like Thuram looked like the 1v1 outlet against defenders. At a point, he rounded a defender beautifully and then had a crack where he should have probably passed the ball.
Classic.
Well, that was like a situation which typically Inter just tend to linger and flirt around the box and see how are we gonna, isolate some players in the area right now, but. You're right, they have been playing a bit differently, of course, still using players to their strengths, and it's always good to see Lautaro get on the score sheet. It's always a good sign for Inter when Lautaro's scoring. When you have Thuram in full form, didn't score in this game, but he was strong, he was linking up, and he was doing well. When you have Bastoni back after he had a few games, in my opinion, where he looked... I didn't even mention when we were talking about the Derby d'Italia. I thought Bastoni was shit in the Derby d'Italia, and I thought he's looked a little bit better since that and grabbed an assist over here as well. But other than that, I think it was a good result for Inter. I think Inter from now on, since they already lost 2 games this season, they need to focus solely on results, man.
Yeah.
Because teams that win the league, of course, we've seen teams win the league with 5 losses, etc. But with the dominance that Napoli and Milan are showing, it could very much be the case that the team that wins the league has just 3 losses. So if Inter want to be in that conversation and they're already on 2 losses, they can't afford to lose many more games. So I think when you have that negative a start, I think it almost improves your season because you become way more objective, and that could very much happen to Inter.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder what kind of season this will be actually. If it's one of those where the winner has 3 losses, or or if it's a clumsier season. We'll
Like
see,
last
because
season
it
was
has
clumsy.
it has the potential to be a clumsy season. Now the fixtures are jam packed, man, for many of these teams.
Yeah, for many of these teams, but
Yes,
like
and the minnow sides are proving to be quite a handful, man. When you look at the bottom teams right now, they've all shown that they can score goals.
absolutely, man. Like even Parma got their first win of the season.
Yeah.
Pisa are making life difficult for anyone. It's surprising that they haven't won a game yet. Cremonese, Cagliari, Verona,
You know who
even Lecce now put up a shift
You know
against
who
Bologna.
are the limpest offensively from the lot at the bottom?
Lecce.
Genoa, man.
Oh, Genoa. Are
Genoa
limp as hell
are
right now.
so limp, dude. They have fucking Colombo up front, who, I'm sorry, man. Improve.
They have the same style. We'll get into this, and let's in fact end this game on this note. But Genoa last season, same start under Gilardino.
Yeah.
Sacked.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But anyway, that was Inter against Cagliari. I don't think there's too much more to talk about. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. Belotti's out injured. What now?
So they have, of course, many an atypical striker to replace Belotti, which is interesting. So they've got Esposito, who we know isn't a proper 9, but then there's also that young Turkish guy, Kilik, who can potentially be incorporated slowly. But they will definitely miss Belotti, because he was, I think, their only target, man, to be honest. Pavoletti's still there.
Pavoletti and Borelli,
Borelli,
who's this
yes.
194 centimeter titan.
Borelli, how old is Borelli?
He's 25.
Borelli's 25 years
Kilik
old.
is 20. I didn't know he was that young. And
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
and then depending on the match day, we could potentially also see Sebastiano Esposito, Zito Luvumbo.
Yeah.
And that is
Mental.
crazy.
We could also see Foloruncio, a typical false 9.
Absolutely. And we'll also see January signings.
Yes.
For sure. On to you, sir.
We have ourselves a Roma game. So Roma made it 3 wins in a week with a 2-0 victory over Hellas Verona, but oh, was it a strange affair. So Roma lined up with Svilar in goal in a 3-4-2-1 formation with Celik, Mancini and Indica at the back, Wesley on the right, Angelino on the left with Kone and Cristante in the middle, and Dovbyk up front flanked by Sule and Pellegrini. For Hellas, it was Montepo in goal in a 3-5-2 formation with Freze, Nelson and Nunez at the back, Bradaric as the left wing back, Belgali as the right wing back, Bernade, Akpa Akpro and Serdar as the midfield trio, with Gift, Orban and Joe Vang up front.
I thought you call him Joe Vang.
Joe Vang.
Everyone in the world calls him Giovanni.
Giovanni from Joe Vang. So Dovbyk struck early on his first Serie A start this season, glancing in Celik's cross just after, 7 minutes. A very nice header. Love the power he generated, and it was a looping header.
Yeah.
You can literally see it. It's hilarious, bro. Sometimes the way these strikers are built and the way they, like, Dovbyk is built like a war tank. Then you just see him going, you know what I mean? Soon after, Hellas should have leveled it, but Miles Svilar somehow denied Gift Orban with his face from point blank range. And then after that, Gift Orban went on to incredibly hit the underside of the bar from just a few yards out. The gift that keeps on giving Orban. Nick sent us a funny meme.
I sent you a funny meme.
About Gift Orban. It's not even a meme, it's a tweet. I call everything a meme nowadays.
This
I'm a
was
boomer.
sent to me by Lucas Lautier. Shout out Lucas, by the way, if you've listened this far, brother.
Yeah, I'd love to find it, to be honest, because it's hilarious. It's a Juve fan reacting.
It's so funny. I'm going to read it out.
Yeah, he posts essentially his sofa score rating.
I will
Gift
read it out
Orban.
if need be.
Yeah, please go for it.
Every misplaced pass, every shot you miss, every time you're on the bench, every bad performance, I will be there, watching you fail, go down. I won't miss a moment of your career. I hope it's the worst. You brought this up on yourself. I will be there for every mistake you make, says at Jara Z.
That's brilliant.
I've never taken it that far with a player. Huh?
You've never just a player has never entered your black books forever.
No.
I always end up enjoying them.
If Gift Orban did that, so this guy's obviously a Juve fan, but if Gift Orban did that against Inter, Gift Orban would be his favorite player in the world. You know, the gift that keeps on giving Orban.
That was so funny, man.
But he did have it's funny because he had a howler of a performance technically, but he's so involved. And he creates so many of these chances that you can't. He's so influential to this team that yes, SofaScore gives him a 5.4 because of that miss and a few other failed opportunities that he had as well. But he's such a he is that outlet for them. Play the ball to Gift Orban, and he's gonna create something on that side of the pitch. So he's still incredibly important. Give me a Gift Orban that misses 4 chances a game rather than giving me some other striker that barely touches the ball.
It's he's very involved, and Giovanni himself as well is very, very involved as well. So when it comes to transitions and offensive play, getting there isn't really a problem for Hellas Verona, but finishing them is proving to be quite a complicated task for them. Anyway, Roma had another scare when wait a second. Akpa at one point clattered Pellegrini but escaped a red card. He was already booked. Hellas kept wasting opportunities after the break with Serdar, Jovan and Belgali all firing off target, so not even testing the keeper, while Svilar timed the perfect one stop on Orban again. They were made to pay when Pellegrini forced a turnover. Manu Kone's flick ricocheted kindly into the path of Sule, who swept home Roma's second and ran off in celebration while he was cramping up, which was quite a sight as well. Seeing him just celebrating, running up to the fans, but he's limping. It reminded me of when Pazzini scored. Remember when Pazzini scored for Milan? He was injured and he limped in celebration.
Yes.
Montepò denied El Shaarawy and Cristante Leighton before Orban finally bundled in a consolation goal, only for VAR to spot handball, and in the end Roma were clinical, while Hellas Verona, who dominated, were very wasteful, to be honest.
Look, Verona were very wasteful, but still Roma have only conceded 1 goal this season. Another clean sheet for them. And this is what Ranieri had brought to them late on last season. I know some people are saying, is this a Gasperini 2.0? I don't believe so. I see Roma being almost like an Atalanta 2.0. You see them pressing. Just they're obviously a bit tidier off the ball. But I think it's down to the way that the team is set up to anticipate counterattacks. And obviously just that back three of Indica, Mancini and the much improved Zeki Celik. But I think Indica is one of the best defenders in the league, man. I think Indica is so good and so improved over the past 2 seasons.
He's very good and he's very important for them as well. And I thought Mancini had a very good game as well. This game together, Indica and Mancini had a combined 14 duels won and 17 ball recoveries.
Jeez Louise.
Yes, I also think that Celik has really improved under Gasperini. He's become very consistent defensively. And this game, offensively, I think was the best I've ever seen him. Offensively,
he grabbed an assist.
3 key passes and an assist. Sule is showing new levels to his game. He was totally frustrated in the first half and things weren't really working out for him. But he remained patient and he just waited for a moment of luck. And he pounced on it like the best players do, you know what I mean? You somehow remain involved even if you're not having the best game ever. Dovbyk, in his first start, I thought held the ball up pretty well, to be honest with you. He was a good reference point up front. And
he needed that goal, man.
If I were Ferguson, I'd be a little bit concerned. Because it started off a little bit too well for Ferguson, but after a few games where he showed his age, he showed...
Hasn't scored yet.
Yeah, he shows nice flashes, but let's be real, Ferguson hasn't... he's not going to change the game for you. Well, Dovbyk is more experienced. I mean, was he the top scorer in La Liga? No, he was the top scorer.
He was
once the top
scorer in La Liga
for
when
Girona
had that mental season.
Exactly.
And Dovbyk has a year under his belt.
Yeah.
And he's a more mature player.
Yes.
when he's older.
Interesting to see young Jan Ziolkowski coming on to replace Ndika, very young
Word.
player. Not sure how old he is because I, for some reason, didn't prepare that. But he's
Ziolkowski.
Ziolkowski. He came on,
Ziolkowski is
played a few minutes, had like 9 touches, but
20.
He looked all right. Yeah, interesting to see him.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that this is Gasperini's old system. This is Gasperini's system tweaked kind of to the players he has in front of him, of course, and with a heavy prioritization of defense.
Yeah.
He is, of course, before we start getting this blitzkrieg rolling like he did at Atalanta, he wants to really solidify the basics, right? And it makes sense. And they've only conceded 1 goal, and it's clear to see that the defense is the priority. I think once they get that nailed down, we might start to see a more Atalanta-looking Roma, let's say that.
Absolutely, no, completely agreed. It's all about steadying the ship when you take over a new team, especially a volatile team like Roma, who last year were either absolute dog shit or they were fucking Champions League contenders. Now Roma have Lille midweek, followed by a trip to Florence against Fiorentina, who are desperate for a victory. So they've got 2 good tests over here. Because they are currently locked first with Napoli and Milan. So we'll see how long that lasts and if it will last.
Yes. Just 3 things that I notice from that are similar to Atalanta for Roma is the pressing and ball recovery and how effective it is. The centre-backs moving forward. You see Ndika, Mancini and Hermoso in offensive situations. And the wing-backs pushing high. One area they can be a little bit better is when those centre-backs drop in to cover for the winger. I think sometimes they're a little bit vulnerable, but it's just a matter of getting used to it. Also, shout out to Sean Soliano, the sporting director of Hellas Verona, who, if you were watching Serie A in the 90s, you might have seen him with Torino. 27 appearances as a player. If you were watching Napoli between 2003 and 2004, he had 6 appearances for them as well. Yes, did you know that Soliano, by the way, was the guy who gave Devis Manja his first head coaching job of a senior team?
Oh my God, what I thought you were going to say. Jeez. Give him his first head. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he gave Devis Manja. Of course, we know Devis Manja because he was the coach of our beautiful nation, Malta.
Yes.
Before he sexually assaulted one of the players,
allegedly assaulted. Well, sexual misconduct.
Yes, sexual misconduct.
How it was framed.
Yes, he's coaching in Serie A nowadays.
Is he in Serie A?
Yep.
Fucking hell, huh? Just take anyone there. Okay. Next,
yes, you can move on.
Let's jump to Lecce 2, Bologna 2. This was low key, the best game of the weekend, man. This was mental. Keep in mind, Bologna were a little bit burnt out because they had just played Villa.
And just a little bit on that, they had a beautiful game against Villa. They looked more energetic than Villa. They moved the ball around quickly. They were unlucky to concede, but later on when they brought in Orsolini and they really brought in their firepower, it was a little bit too late. I think they brought in Orsolini in the 70th minute, and by then Aston Villa were slowing the game down and he didn't get many chances. I think had Orsolini come on a little bit earlier, maybe they could have got something out of that one. Yeah,
it's not to say that Lecce were chilling and jorking, because they played, of course, a Tuesday match against Milan. And they had 10 men, so it was no easy feat for them. But they played in a 4-3-3 formation with Falcone in goal, backline of Kwasi, Gaspar, Gabriel and Gallo, a midfield trio of Berisha, Ramadani and Koulibaly, and Tete Morente on the left, Pierotti on the right with Stulic up front. For Bologna, it was a 4-2-3-1 formation, Skorupski in goal on the backline of Emil Holm, Lukumi, and Miranda. A double pivot of Ferguson and Moro, Orsolini on the right, Jonathan Rowe on the left with Fabian playing behind Dallinga. Now Lecce opened the scoring in the 13th minute. It was a Pierotti header that was brilliantly saved by Skorupski. Miranda fluffed the clearance and Koulibaly tapped in from close range. It took me ages to try to condense this into a sentence because the chaos that ensued over there was crazy. In the 18th minute, Lecce were denied by the woodwork after Morente unleashed an absolute rocket and Lucumi's deflection sent it crashing off the bar. It was really, really dramatic. Keeper was rooted to the spot and fell on his ass. It was crazy. In the 37th minute, Bologna were awarded a penalty and it was due to Quassi bundling Dallinga in the back. Orsolini stepped up and sent Falcone the wrong way, making it 1-1. Sorry, were you going to say something?
No. I said, yeah.
No worries, you just really caught me off guard. 60th minute, Koulibaly got close again as he drilled Gallo's cut back off the far post. So that's the second time Lecce hit the post over there. And then completely against the run of play, to be honest. In the 67th minute, Odegaard found acres of space on the right and his deflected strike off of Gabriel gave Bologna the lead. And it was super against the run of play. It was kind of a shit goal and I was pissed off. 74th minute, third time, unlucky. Pierotti smacked the post with a curling effort for Lecce. Lecce hit the post 3 times in this game against Bologna. But fear not, for a fairy tale was being written this entire time, as there was a Berisha corner in the 95th minute. Falcone's up. Falcone's like, I'm going to try do anything I can to either block in a runner, get a touch in, whatever, to try get this goal. But 17-year-old Ciccio Camarda just slots in between everyone. True number 9 header into the back of the net. Takes his shirt off. He's wearing one of those bralettes. I'm like, God, bro, why are you wearing one of those bralettes? But I'm like, fuck it, whatever. He's 17. What a moment for him, man. And he was robbed of a very similar occasion for Milan. So it was robbed of great.
A much greater occasion
in the Champions League.
Yeah.
But Milan had already won that game. They were against 10 men. No, this is a last-minute equalizer for Lecce against Bologna.
This is what molds great strikers. You know what I mean? Having this in your catalogue at 17 years old is great.
Absolutely.
It's very good. And I think, I'm not sure if this is correct, but it is said, and I've heard this from many different people, that Lecce have a clause in Camarda's contract that Milan pay per goal he scores. I don't say the amount because the amount I heard is it might not be accurate, but they say that when Camarda scores, they get quite a hefty sum.
Yes. And
that would make sense to incentivize them playing him, right?
Exactly.
I think because they're a team who really, really, really operate on pennies, dude, compared to everyone else, Lecce.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I had said what the arrangement was in a previous episode, but it escapes me right now. But the point is, Camarda's off the mark. Stulic hasn't really hit the ground running yet, so this just puts Camarda in a really good position to try cement his name on their starting lineup at 17 years old. And he has it in him, man, because you can see he's confident. You could see glimpses. We've seen one too many glimpses. We hadn't seen a goal yet, and now we have a goal, and it was an experienced goal, the way that he entered really good in the air. The goal he had cancelled for Milan was a looping header over Simon Mignolet as well, was it not? It was, yes.
Looping exactly. Header. Against Mignolet, damn, bro, that memory.
I believe so. Bologna, on the other hand, Bologna came up against a Lecce side who have been struggling for goals, and Lecce hit the post 3 times against them. Skorupski had to pull off some mental saves. Bologna away from home, man, are a completely different team. They're still away from home. They're still winless away from home this season. And their last Serie A win dates all the way back to March of this year.
Hot damn, man. Honestly, it's I think that Lecce at the moment, when you look at their performance this game, it's honestly surprising. I think fatigue plays a big part for Bologna because it's unlike them to concede like this. But it just goes to show that in Serie A against these small teams, if you don't kill the game off, they can get you. And the amount of pressure that Lecce piled on the end was difficult, to be honest, to watch, let alone to defend against. Because you start getting that fear, right? That paranoia, and then the clock is ticking. You know, these guys essentially have nothing to lose. They're coaches, they're like, try to get something out of this game. That's the pressure they have. Try to get something out of it. While Bologna, on the other hand, is 3 points is a must. This is Lecce,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly. And they've had quite a weak start to the season, Bologna. Of course,
They
have a
have.
good
They have a
victory
bit.
against Como, but otherwise, they've struggled. And
It's
again,
growing pains as well, because they have many new players, bro. Jonathan Rowe.
I liked Jonathan
liked
Rowe
him
in
as
this
well.
game. I think over time he can give them what Ndoye gave them, which was a lot of pace and directness.
I thought the same.
And he showed that in this game. I think Jonathan Rowe is a good piece that they have that they can work with. I think where they sucked, apart from their away record, which is predominant and it isn't to be ignored, they don't win away from home since March. They had Freuler rested, so Bologna lacked this kind of control in the build-up phase. Koulibaly and Berisha bullied Bologna's midfielders. This game by Lecce was won in the midfield. Bologna couldn't start in the midfield area. And also, I can't help but feel like, you see when Bologna win games, it almost feels like it's moments, like that Castro goal, that Orsolini goal out of nothing. You know, it's almost like this. It's few brilliant team moves that you see, like we used to see last season from Bologna.
From Motta's Bologna.
From Motta's Bologna or from Italiano's last season. But it feels like an over-reliance on moments. Like this goal came from an Orsolini penalty and a deflected Odegaard strike. You know what I mean? They didn't really build pressure. They just took chances basically when their opponent slipped up. And that I don't know. They don't fill me with hope when I watch them play the same way that they did last season.
It's true. No, you're right. They're way slower in transition. They used to swap flanks very effectively. Now it feels a little bit less effective. Maybe Orsolini's the exception there, because he can still switch play very effectively. But I think Bernardeschi's has been a bit of a weird addition. I don't know what to make of him.
He made a really bad. I think he gave the ball away at the back.
He's lively, but he's not exactly. He reminds me a bit of like the way Zaniolo plays. You know what I mean? I think Bernardeschi's better than Zaniolo. Don't get me wrong, and I think he's actually more useful, more deployable than Zaniolo. Zaniolo's purely nowadays a bit of a chaos player, right? You bring him on, he just creates all this chaos. But Bernardeschi, I don't know, man. He seems a bit. He plays like a player who has status, who has experience, who can change the game. But you don't see that output-wise at all. And
at the end of the day, what they're doing is
they've downgraded their team, basically.
Yes, absolutely, they've downgraded their team. They got Chiro, who got injured immediately.
That sucks.
Poor guy. Yeah. The one thing that they still have is they obviously lost Beukema.
Yes.
They lost Beukema.
Yes,
Beukema is a huge player for them.
Massively.
Freuler's not getting any younger. He's not ancient, but he's not getting any younger. But one guy they still have is Orsolini, right? This penalty was his 68th Serie A goal for Bologna, and he has officially overtaken Beppe Signori, and he cemented club legend status.
Nice.
So massive congrats to
Well done.
Orsolini. If Lecce can do this, and Lecce aren't the absolute shittest team in the league, I have no idea who's getting relegated. If Lecce are capable of this. Because Lecce had a fire game, bro. Fire.
It's also, I think the calendar will play a very important part, because playing against these sides the same week they have their Champions League commitments is a massive advantage.
Absolutely.
And if it's a big game, for example, between Juve and Inter, who both have to rotate, it's a little bit different. You'll expect the game to be a slower tempo, but then Lecce, the teams like Lecce who are playing once a week, the teams like Milan who are playing once a week, will totally take advantage of these situations and press you harder than you've ever been pressed before. And again, that's it. Lecce just managed to hang on this game and just made the most of a moment at the end. And what a moment it was, man.
Yeah, well, Lecce had a blitzkrieg in this game. Lecce were bombing Bologna. There was a bombing in Bologna.
Bologna.
If we were still cool and named our episode names cool things, it would have been a bombing in Bologna.
And if I still drew my pictures.
Yeah.
I should still draw some and just hang them up behind us, because these will get old.
Yes, but you should do it out of fun, not because you're rushing and you have to.
Exactly. The fact that I was having to do one every week was really.
You should be Van Gogh. You shouldn't be someone working a 9 to 5 job under pressure. Exactly. You should get depressed and slice your ear off.
And draw poor people.
Exactly.
Now, moving on. Right?
Yes.
Genoa 0, Lazio 3.
Educate us, bro.
The game that we both prepared this week. Was it this? Had you started preparing
I
yet?
had started preparing. Yes, yeah. You wrote it twice and none of us noticed. Bro, how's the split? Good. Top.
At least we know a lot about it.
Hell of a lot.
A very convincing victory by Lazio on a Monday night to beat Genoa at the Luigi Ferrari Stadium despite being under pressure early. For Genoa, it was a 4-2-3-1 with Leali in goal, Norton, Coffey, Ostegard, Vasquez and Martin at the back with Mazzini and Frendrup as the double pivot. Ellertson on the right, Vitinha on the left with Malinovsky playing behind the shoulders of the very disappointing Colombo. For Lazio, it was a 4-2-3-1 formation with Provedel in goal, Pellegrini, Romagnoli, Hila and Marusic were at the back with Basic.
Yo.
That's right, Toma Basic for the first time in over a year.
Jeez Louise.
Making an appearance for Lazio.
Hey Basic.
While Dele Bashiru, who suffered an injury, was dropped from the Serie A team list for the squad list by Sarri. Apparently even the fact that he has the African Cup had something to do with it, the fact that he's injured.
The African Cup of Nations, of course, that's this year.
So yes, it was Basic and Cataldi forming a double pivot with Zaccagni on the left, Cancellieri on the right, Dia as a shadow striker, I believe you'd call that, and Castellanos up top.
I mean, what else can they do, bro, when they had Guendouzi and Belayan red carded in the derby? And
Della Bashiru injured. This is the way to do it. This was the solution. And Basic actually came in and he looked on par with the others, if not a little bit better, to be honest, like Belayan, etc. But yes, Matteo Cancellieri opened the scoring early with a composed finish after Tati Castellanos had a beautiful ball through down the wing from the middle. Genoa grew into the game and created chances, but Provedel denied Ellertson and Colombo before halftime. Marusic assisted Castellanos for Lazio's second goal, though Marusic was immediately substituted as he injured himself while getting that assist while setting up the goal.
It's hilarious because it was a really normal cross.
No, it's not like he stretched too much. He was replaced by Hisai, the immortal.
Hey.
In the second half, Genoa were briefly awarded a penalty for a Romagnoli handball, but VAR overturned the decision, and then Lazio wrapped up the win with Zaccagni tapping in from a goal-mouth scramble following Luca Pellegrini's free kick. Cancellieri nearly added a second late in the game, but he missed a clear opportunity terribly, to be honest. I think that was a very disappointing miss after what would have been a very good performance by Cancellieri. He was very involved this game.
He stood out to me and this game, Cancellieri. Of course,
he looked like the Cancellieri we saw in pre-season.
Exactly. And someone worthy to be opposite Zaccagni. Because one thing we saw in this game was the wingers were actually effective. We haven't seen Zaccagni and Isaacson, Zaccagni and Pedro, Zaccagni and Cancellieri both be effective since that 4-0 victory, essentially. But we got to see it over here. We got to see a glimpse of it. We got to see a glimpse of what Cancellieri could be like if he's on good form. I think they came against a very out-of-form team, which did them a favour because they've been struggling this season, Lazio. Everyone's talking about them, the lack of investments, how Sarri's faring, his relationship with the owner. So I think this was a well-needed, clean result for Genoa. But then again, so was that 4-0 victory a couple of match days ago as well.
But the interesting thing about this victory that separates us from the other one is that Sarri changed formation, man. There's a 4-2-3-1. When have we ever seen Sarri change formation? It was a little bit silly and United-esque for Genoa to play a high line. You see Martin couldn't keep up with Cancellieri at all, and he had almost given up before the race even started. And you see the likes of Vasquez and Ostegard sprinting. It's not exactly a good thing. It's not exactly a smart thing when you have a striker like Castellanos who's very, very technical and can play a killer pass. And if Cancelleri is something, he's quick, so
Yeah.
take that into consideration. And I really like the way Cancelleri set that goal up for himself. He took his time, he took a touch, setting the ball up, and then curled it in past the keeper. I thought it was a nice goal.
Really nice goal. No, really nice goal. Take nothing away from him. I also like, I'm just noticing now, how Tavares didn't start this game after the mistake he made against Roma.
Yeah, good
That's
observation.
a punishment.
Literally.
Because when you have that many players out and you don't start one of your core pieces, that's a punishment.
Yeah.
That's not a coincidence.
It's true, a very good point. The question is, was he available?
Yes, he came
Yes,
on
he was.
after
Oh, yes, he did come
Pellegrino
on, of
went
course.
off due to a knock.
And the 69th, just to ridicule him further.
Exactly. 69. Change.
Change.
We have a
On you
change.
come. Should we be worried about Genoa, is my question?
Yes. Yes.
I don't think so, personally.
I mean,
They're off to a slow start, but
I don't think we should fear them getting relegated just yet because we're 5 matches in. But they haven't
of course,
looked good.
Yes.
Genoa. They haven't looked good at all. We look at their results as well.
They haven't got results, but they've looked decent in some games, huh?
They have looked decent. They're always an awkward side to play against. But like here, they got blown out of the water. I think they had a victory over Empoli in like the Coppa or some shit, some 3-1 victory. But they lost to Bologna, they lost to Juve, they drew 0-0 to Lecce, they drew to Como 1-1. I think they'll pick it up, but it's just they don't look anywhere near where they were last season. They look downgraded. The fact that it's Colombo and not Pinamonti,
that's the biggest loss.
That's
for
a
them.
huge downgrade for them. That's a huge one.
And yeah, I mean there was rotation, by the way, in midweek, but it wasn't a crazy amount. For example, Vasquez played, Martin played, Colombo played as well. The rest was rotated. But yes, that's a massive factor, bro. When you look at these small teams, they've all got a striker that can do something. I mean, we can name them. We can literally go through the table. Let's look at the bottom of the table right now. We have Lecce, have Stulic, who's
Kamada,
decent,
right.
and Kamada. I mean, Stulic has scored goals in his career, and Kamada is a very exciting prospect. It's not great, but it's not as bad as Genoa's.
Yeah.
You look at Pisa. Who's Pisa's 9? They've got Meister, and they've got Nzola as well.
Nzola.
Yeah. Again, Nzola knows the league. Decent striker, good reference point, good target man. Hellas Verona have the gift that keeps on giving, and Jovan. Fiorentina down here have Keane. That's it. Yes, Parma have what's his name, Pellegrino and Cutrone. They've got strikers. Cagliari now lost Bellotti, but they still have some people who can actually make the difference and score goals. Genoa, that's what I'm lacking right now. They don't really have many people who are used to scoring goals at this level.
And I don't trust Colombo enough to say that he just needs a few games and he's gonna get into it. I really don't think he's that great a striker, if I'm being completely honest. What I also feel is I would start Vitinha striker probably, man. I would probably start Vitinha striker and I'd find a fucking way to play Stanchu or Carboni at least, man, because I feel like they have so much talent that isn't coming on, and they're playing Vitinha on the left, Ellertson on the right, and Malinovsky behind Colombo, right? But on the bench there's Carboni, there's Stanchu. There's Ekuban as well, who's no joke of a striker, as in
he comes on better than he starts, though.
Yes, I'm not saying start him.
Yeah.
And then there's also, where is he? Grombake, who I haven't seen yet. Cornet, there was so much hype about Cornet. Messias is, of course, injured as well. I think they have players, man. They have players, and I said they downgraded. They probably upgraded with some of the options that they have, like Carboni, Stanchu, and Grombake.
It's like they only bought for one position.
Hey, man.
They have so many attacking mids.
Malinovsky, Messias, Vitinha, Ellertson, Carboni, Stanchu, Cornet, Messias.
Oh no, it's ridiculous.
It's mental. It's mental.
Don't know. We'll see how they proceed. There'll be a change, though. I think they'll change something up.
The coach, you think?
No, I think in the system and the way they're playing. Frendrup Mazzini, I don't hate that double pivot.
No, I
Actually,
don't
think
either.
it's pretty good. And the back line is fine. I think they need to tweak how high it goes. Definitely against Lazio, especially.
No, this was the wrong
Yeah,
setup.
this was the wrong,
This was a
setup as well.
Vieira fuck up.
I want to keep an eye on Malinovsky closely because I'm not so sure he's that effective at this point. Maybe keep him as an option off the bench. I have liked what I've seen from Ellertson, to be honest with you, here and there.
Yeah,
I think he's not bad.
A bit bland.
And then Vitinha, I can't help but feel is playing out of position. Personally, I don't know.
I like him in that two up top. I thought
Uh-huh.
in the Gilardino system he was perfect, funnily enough.
Yeah.
But alas.
But alas, yes. So that is it all for this game? Yes, it's all for this game.
You tell me, baby.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next game is the the Tuscan derby rather, the first one after 34 years. It's Gilardino versus Pioli, of course. Pisa, still winless this season, but they do have a draw against Atalanta and a draw against Fiorentina now. Fiorentina also winless, and these guys just came together, these two Tuscan losers, and remained winless. So it was Gilardino's classic 3-5-2 formation, Semper in goal, and the backline of Bonifanti, Caracciolo, and Canestrelli. They had Toure on the right, Leris on the left, and the midfield three of fucking San Siro, Abisher, and Marin, with Inzola and Matteo Tramoni up front together. Pioli went back to a 3-5-2. Okay, this is breaking news. De Gea on goal, backline of Pongracic, Mari, and Ranieri. Dodo on the right, Gosens on the left, double pivot of Mandragora and Nicolucci Caviglia. Then he went for Fazzini, Goodmanson, Keane. So he's dropped Piccoli and he's brought in Fazzini. Feels like he needs to service his players more. I completely agree with this move, Pioli. But 13 minutes in, Inzola hits the post for Pisa with a huge header. It was an Akinsan Miro cross. The huge header by Inzola. Then after that, we basically saw a flurry of weird decisions. So we saw 2 disallowed goals for Keane, both for offside. 57th minute and 64th minute. This feels like one of those seasons where luck is not on Keane's side. He's had these seasons before, and I'm starting to sense that it looks like nothing can go right for him.
You think he manifests misfortune? It's something.
Okay, Simi, explain. What do you mean by this?
You think he gets in his head when things stop going his way and he starts kind of saying, "Oh my
Good
God,
things
I'm
come
gonna
to him
miss."
when he's not that eager. He looks too eager, man. He looks too eager to score. He's not passing. He's shooting from weird angles.
He's trying too hard,
the
right?
ball up. He's trying way too hard. He's in his head completely. You can tell. But yeah, those 2 disallowed goals. Then Henrik Meister scored a spectacular half volley, and it was ruled out because the ball dropped down and it hit his arm. Is it daylight robbery that the goal wasn't given? That's fine. Don't worry. Don't worry. Is it daylight robbery that the goal wasn't awarded? Question.
I felt it was extremely harsh because granted the ball hit his hand, but his hand was very close to his body and it didn't affect. It would have made no difference had it hit any other part of his body.
It's
the rule.
This is one of those where it's the rule, but what is the rule? I don't know what the handball rule is. And I say this every single time. I have a football podcast and I don't know what the handball rule is. I swear on my life, I mean that. The ball to me felt like it rolled down his body. I saw Milan had a disallowed goal like that against United once, and we were furious. We thought it was daylight robbery. Not quite sure if this was daylight robbery, but definitely super, super unlucky, and we've seen those not given for sure. So it's just, again, the whole consistency thing. Then there was a Cuadrado shot in the second half that hit the post. He cut in well, and he went for the near post. And then there was a clear Pongracic handball in the box, where his hand is way more extended than Meister's was. It moves towards the ball. That's a penalty. You can't tell me anything else. That's a clear penalty. A clear penalty.
Yeah. I think Pisa were hard done by this game.
Absolutely,
They
man.
deserved it, and even the way they were playing,
Absolutely.
man, they were the better team.
Yeah, the better team.
That
Completely.
Toure is a bloody animal. on the wing.
Toure is
He's
so good, bro.
He's
so
good.
good.
And at first, the first time I watched him, in fact, in the first episode of the season, I made a little joke and I said, if Toure dribbles like that every time, I'm in for a treat this season. But he does dribble like that. He likes to do tricks, and he's quite tall himself, so it looks a little bit funny.
Yeah.
And then he likes to knock the ball forward often. But he is extremely acrobatic, extremely involved. He's a good teammate as well. He's always applauding he gets on well. He has a good spirit about him. I think that there are some interesting players. They're a fun team to watch, Pisa.
I agree completely, and I don't know. I don't count them out. Like have this great resurgence, because you can see that Gilardino coded football. They play. They're an awkward team to play against. They've got a goal in them. This should have been a Pisa victory. And I can't help but feel that this is a referee and the VAR room playing it safe and favouring the bigger team when it comes to a refereeing decision. This shit pisses me off, because that's a clear handball in the box by Pongracic, and VAR doesn't intervene. You're kidding me? VAR intervene over a heel of a boot being a millimeter out of place, and a handball like that, you don't see it.
Yeah.
I have less points to make about this game, and just mainly rage that I have to get out of. Point number one, you're seeing it in front of you right now, bro.
The cancelled goal.
Refereeing decisions, the cancelled Pisa goal and Pongracic handball, which denied Pisa glory. I thought Pisa deserved a victory over here. Not only could they have had a victory, I thought they deserved a victory.
Do you think that Pioli, the way he sets up Fiorentina, gives them too much offensive liberty? Like, you see, for example, Goodmanson, man. It seems like he tries to dribble so much. He it's predictable. Pisa are expecting Goodmanson to do that shit. It's not gonna work. You need something more complex than individual brilliance, I feel, at times. It's almost like Keane, Fazzini and Goodmanson have no harmony about each other. Sometimes I feel like the main playmaker for this team is Gosens. He's the one who seems to be the most involved offensively, the one who seems to be who seems to utilize 1-2s the most, who advances, who creates chances, who's on the end of chances. I don't know. Look, and Nicolosi has some growing pains as well.
Pisa, yes, he does. So Pioli always struggled against a low block. I'm not saying Pisa played predominantly a low block, because Pisa were pressing, but Pisa were also recouping and playing a bit more on the low block when recovering after losing the ball. And Pioli's sides always struggle against that low block setup. It just felt to me that with the press that Gilardino's team were offering, and they were pressing quite high, and they were forcing Fiorentina into a number of mistakes. Fiorentina, we've seen them make mistakes at the back as well. They're forcing them into errors. But slow passes by Fiorentina, predictable build-up play. There's nothing unique. There isn't that... I don't feel like Goodmanson's being utilized like he should in that, like, closer to the striker and a bit of in a free role, like where he comes down every time a player has the ball. He wants the ball. He's coming in deep and he wants the ball, and that he drags a defender out with him, and suddenly, I don't know, maybe have someone exploiting that space. There's nothing.
There's no fluidity. There's no cohesion.
And if there was something, I think, of course they're not going to sack Pioli, because it's growing pains and he's their third manager in 3 seasons. But at this point, I don't see much hope of this team pulling it off and doing something, because they're so far from any form of identity that I struggle to see them doing well, man, under Pioli.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't sack him at this point.
It's early.
It's too early. It's too early. Again, it's way too early. I wouldn't sack him, but I definitely wouldn't be happy with what I've seen. I don't know. I feel like I'm old school when it comes to managers. I feel like unless you are underperforming to the point that you are in danger of relegation, I mean, missing out on Europe for one season for Fiorentina wouldn't be the end of the world, considering they usually qualify for the Conference League. If they miss out for one season, not that bad, right? We need to see how he performs also in the Conference League, because I guess they assume that will be a strong suit for Pioli, right? Having reached the semi-finals of the Champions League.
We'll see how he performs then against Romanian teams, and then when he's dropping points to Pisa, to Como, to Torino, to Cagliari, it doesn't make sense. Like, if you keep him because it's Fiorentina and the Conference League and they're playing all these ass teams, I don't think it's a viable reason to keep them. Sure, they can enjoy their Conference League trophy.
Yes, but that would be massive, first of all. For Fiorentina, any type of trophy would be massive. And the fact that, remember, you keep a coach, you get the advantage of continuity, you get the advantage of knowing a group, of having many different plans, building chemistry, etc., etc.
This is where I'll jump in and say they should have fucking thought about that last season, because they got rid of the right man, in my opinion. I thought they had the right man. Remind me his name.
Palladino.
Formerly Monza, Palladino.
I agree.
I thought they got rid of the
I thought
right
they had
man.
a nice manager.
He did well. He got
He's
them to
unemployed.
sixth, man. He's unemployed.
We'll see him back this season, I say.
You reckon? He shouldn't settle for less than Fiorentina.
I don't know.
He
At this
shouldn't
point,
go to a Genoa or something.
why
like
not,
that.
man? Why not? He did so well with Monza, and if he goes to Genoa, he has a decent team to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine actually that team is more organized than that Monza team was, personnel wise, and even when it comes to the random creative players like the likes of Colpani, which he liked a lot at Monza. He can use. Imagine Carboni there.
Yeah. Who do Pisa have coming up? Because I was genuinely very impressed by Pisa. Pisa now...
I think they're my current tech. They're the team that I'm most stoked to watch at the moment, Pisa.
Really?
Yeah.
Pisa?
Yeah. I like them. I don't know why. I always like an underdog, but... It's probably because they're new and I'm not used to them as well. So yeah,
they're
that must
away to Bologna next, and then they've got Verona at home. That could be something. That could be something. But anyway, brother.
Yes, sir. So moving on, we've got up next Como Cremonese.
Ooh,
and
a sleeper game.
The last official encounter between Cremonese and Como was in 2022 in Serie B, and Cremonese won that 2-1. It was Di Carmine who scored twice.
Di Carmine?
Yeah, while Bellemo netted for Como. The last victory for Como against Cremonese dates back to 2016, 1-0 in Serie C.
Jeez.
Yeah. And the last Serie A appearance, the last Serie A meeting between Cremonese and Como was on November 18th, 1984.
Oh
where
my
Como
God.
won 1-0.
To all you 60s babies.
Yes.
That one's for you.
I remember that one.
Dude, they're not that old. They're 50s, like.
Let me be funny, bro. So yes.
I remember that game.
I remember that one. So it was Boutte in goal for Como in their 4-2-3-1 formation, with Posh, Carlos, Ramon and Valle at the back, with Perrone and Sergio Roberto as a double pivot. Kun, Paz and Rodriguez playing behind Duvikas. Every time I watch Sergio Roberto, he goes off injured. Now, 3-5-2 for Cremonese, as the entire nation of Indonesia held its breath as Audero experienced an injury. Yes, he was replaced by Silvestri prior to the game. Bianchetti, Baschirotto and Terracciano were at the back, with Zerbin and Pezzella playing on the flanks. Warren, Bondo, Grassi and Paiero are in the middle, with Jonsson and Bonazzoli up front. Now, Paz opened the scoring for Como in the 32nd minute. He was assisted by Jesus Rodriguez, who did very well to find Paz in the box. This was a normal goal by Paz. It's been a while since we've seen that.
Yeah.
Just him getting on the end of a good pass and
well, it's good to see he scores these as well.
It's true.
He gets in those areas,
Yes.
and he puts those away. The simple shit.
The simple shit's important as well. Cremonese responded in the 69th minute with Baschirotto heading in a Franco Vasquez corner, and what a powerful header that was, and what a powerful celebration by a very powerful man.
Absolutely, PPP, baby.
VAR intervened in the 81st minute to review an off-the-ball punch and kick by Jesus Rodriguez, which resulted in a red card for Como. He lashed out, literally. You get to see Terracciano provoking him. He literally put his arms around his waist like that, and he lashed out immediately. He like kicked him a bit, then he hit him with his hand. And
you're touchy, Jesus.
Yeah.
You don't like it when people touch you, big baby, man. Fucking grow up, like.
Yeah. If you ever see Matt out, touch his face.
I don't like it when people touch my face. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
And a massive loss for Cremonese as Colo left the pitch injured, and it's quite a bad injury, and he'll be out for a while. He's a very important player for them.
Colo.
Yes.
It's a shame.
Just some fun moments from the game. Terracciano had a terrible mistake where he tried to head the ball back to the goalkeeper, and Rodriguez ended up getting in between them and almost headed it in. That was a funny little moment. That would have been a blunder and a half.
Yeah.
Bonazzoli attempted a long-range shot against Bute, and it wasn't far off at all. Adai almost replicated the goal he scored last week at the end.
Yeah.
He's really nifty in those situations.
Great player to bring on.
And once again, Mussolini coming on and having a decent cameo, man, with a half volley in stoppage time as well. Mussolini's a good player, man.
He is a good player. I enjoy Romano Floriani, Mussolini.
Yes.
He puts in a good shift when he comes on. He's hardworking. He does the basics right. He gets himself into positions where it's like, yeah, foul me.
Yeah.
Like he gets in the box. I know he won a penalty late on once as well, but he's really tricky in those areas.
Yes. We have a comment by Fabregas who says...
Fabregas commented on our video.
Imagine.
Oh.
Nice one, guys. Speaking Maltese. Fabregas said the squad is too big. I need to figure out the best system. No shit. Mm-hmm. And this is what I wanted to mention actually before, but I didn't want to end up talking about Como during the Milan thing. But to create a very united group and to get consistency, especially if you're playing once a week, you can't have an exaggeratedly large squad because you're going to have unhappy people. You're going to have too much rotation, especially if you're Fabregas. God knows the ideas he has. You know how passionate he is.
Let me start. They have these players that I'm surprised that they're not starting. But I'm like, why am I surprised if there isn't literally enough positions? Da Cunha, for example. Kakere. Voivoda.
So
and Baturina.
Yeah, Baturina is a new
come in. They broke the bank to get him, and he's the Croatian, right? Baturina, yes.
Yeah.
And I don't believe he's played a minute of football for them yet. And starting, they have Rodriguez, they have Kun, Paz, Duvikas,
Diao is injured, he'll be back.
Diao is injured. Of course, they have that troublemaker that they brought on. What's his name again? Adai.
Yeah.
These are all potential starters. Morata, of course, who's a leader for a club like this. He's right to say it's a big squad. He should figure out the system regardless. He has the power to remove players as well, you know?
The thing is, you're seeing players performing well at different phases in training. You've got your system set. You bring in some players, you find success with them, but other players are performing well in training. So then you start to bring those players who are performing well in training on, and the players who would have been playing well coming off the bench aren't being introduced anymore. It's a little bit difficult to manage, right?
Yeah.
That's the situation. And Fabregas is a young manager, so this is definitely a good test for his career.
Absolutely. And you come against a Cremonese side that is, listen, we are this team and we play in a 3-5-2.
Exactly.
They're nailed down starting 11. They've got a mercenary for a manager, a guy that drives you absolutely mental, and motivates the hell out of you, and that's where it starts to get tricky, right?
Yeah. You've got a very resolute side in Cremonese who don't seem to ever give up, who don't ever seem to be a team that considers themselves out of any game at any point. The first half, in fact, was pretty much all Como, yet they came out in the second half and managed to create something for themselves and to actually get a goal off a set piece. Baschirotto isn't only centre back with Serie A experience that they nabbed from Lecce, but he came into this team and immediately he's the leader. He's in every hustle, group, celebration, discussion, he's there, he's in the front. Any discussion with the referee, he's there as well. He is literally the leader and he wears that on his chest with pride, man.
Absolutely.
And they have put together quite a decent little team. Yet again, Jamie Vardy hasn't featured. I'm very excited to see him.
So am I. I'm a bit worried because he did pick up an injury quite quick, but hopefully it won't keep him out for too long. It's muscle fatigue though,
apparently. Yes, Cremonese remain undefeated.
Ooh.
Also, for our Indonesians, because we have listeners, by the way, they commented on a video, shout out to Indonesia.
Hey,
Emil Audero had not gone 2 consecutive matches without conceding since 2023 with Inter. So,
okay,
he did
thank
that.
you. Thank you to Indonesia for that.
Yes. All right, moving on.
Amazing. Next game, my last game. Parma 2, Torino 1. Parma's first win of the season. In Serie A, it was following their midweek victory over Spezia. Torino have had a mixed bag, of course, just 2 victories so far. Well, 1 in the league over Roma. Parma played in a 3-4-1-2 formation. Zion Suzuki in goal, backline of Ndai, Circati and Del Prato. Valeri on the left and Bridgegi on the right.
Come on, bro, you don't know Bridgegi?
Never heard of Bridgegi before. Keita and Bernabé, the double pivot with Oristano playing behind Pellegrino and Cotrone. 3-4-3 formation for Baroni's men. Israel in goal, backline of Ismaili, Maripan and Coco. Nkunku was on the left, Lazaros on the right with a double pivot of Casadei and Aslani. Ingonj and Vlasic flanked Giovanni Simeone. In the 36th minute, Parma opened the scoring as VAR spotted a handball by Ismaili, penalty given. Pellegrino converted for Roma with his first shot on target. On the stroke of half-time, there was a disallowed goal for Pellegrino, who thought he doubled it with a header, but it was ruled out for a foul on keeper Israel. In the 50th minute, Torino equalised, and it was Cyril Ingonj that produced what was my goal of the week, a strike into the top corner, no chance for Suzuki or for any goalkeeper, really, after completely deleting a defender. In the 73rd minute, Pellegrino actually got his second after Valeri whipped in a dangerous cross, and Pellegrino rose highest and buried the header very good in the air, and he was wearing a helmet, so that's cool. I've never seen someone with a helmet score a header.
And I was wondering if it would give you an advantage or a disadvantage, huh?
I thought disadvantage, because in football you must feel.
You must feel, right?
Feel
Yes.
the ball.
But also, you might be able to generate more power with less pain.
More power with less pain. My brother have been trying to figure out that one his entire life. Late on, Torino pushed hard, with Baroni throwing on Shea Adams and going all-out attack, but Parma hung on, did their whole catenaccio thing throughout in the last stretch of the game.
However, when they were still tied, they made a substitution. Did I mention this in the podcast or to you before?
Repeat and we'll see.
Yeah, they took out Oristano and brought on Benedicak when they were tied, and they already had Cutrone and Pellegrino up front. So it was literally like
almost an attacking
balls
move
to the wall. Like he wanted the 3 points.
And it's their first league win after a super rocky start. I believe that this could be a turning point for Parma and a manager like Cuesta. Sometimes a victory is all you need. If they have Pellegrino putting away his chances, I think they're golden, because they do create opportunities. You know,
they do.
They have ideas. They have a manager that allegedly crafted this Arsenal corner kick routine himself that makes them one of the most dangerous teams in the world. if Pellegrino's getting his head to these, then they're in a fucking good place, man.
They are, and they have players with wildly different skill sets, and it's very fun to watch. Bernabe and Keita in the middle are very different profiles. You have Valeri, who is a very unique fullback, who is quite potent. Cutrone, who presses like an animal, who is also a poacher, who can get on the end of loose balls, while Pellegrino's more of that no bullshit striker who you just give the ball in the air to, who's going to smack it in. They've got a very interesting team. And then they have Oristano, for example, behind them, who is one of the best dribblers statistically in the league as well. So there is definitely some room to work with for Cuesta over here. And we've seen some different looking games for Parma so far, so he's quite adaptable. He adapts to his opponent, and this game impressed me particularly. I thought that he approached it very well. Even the fact, like in the 90th minute, he brought on Juric, and Juric's role was literally to defend set pieces and to man mark players and to just be that big body in the way. Like
That's very well put about Parma. Let's move on to Torino. Torino lost. That's their third loss in 5 games. 10 goals conceded already. The zonal marking on the corners was all over the place. I feel like they gifted Pellegrino so much space.
Agreed.
Over and over again, because there was the disallowed one as well. Torino haven't had this bad a start defensively since 2002-2003, and guess how that season ended?
They got relegated.
I thought that Vlasic was particularly invisible. We haven't seen much of him this season, but when we have, I do think he has been a bit invisible and not as crucial to the team like he was in the past. And just overall, I don't know how to feel about Torino so far. I think they've been incredibly limp. They had one impressive victory over Roma. Starting to think that one might have been a bit of a write-off.
Again, very early, but yes, they look so disappointing, man. And even the fact that they kept trying to service Cholito in the air and he just wasn't winning any of them, it was just very frustrating. You know, like you'd expect a team to adapt in situations like that. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like looking at them, it's just Ngonge against the world, right?
Ngonge was great in this game, though. If there's one good thing that they can take away from this game, it's Ngonge. Because they started him for 90 minutes and he was the best player on the pitch, really, aside from
Ismaili went off injured, which would be extremely concerning, because with Ismaili at the back, they can definitely keep some teams quiet. I mean, Ismaili, Maripan, Kokko isn't a bad defensive three. So hopefully that's not serious.
Did you notice Nkunku starting ahead of Biraghi?
Of course,
after
Niels.
We said Niels Nkunku. After what were some moments where Biraghi looked terrible that we pointed out in the last episode as well.
And this guy, to be fair, is way more...
He's a wing back.
He's way more athletic than Biraghi.
He's a modern day wing back.
Granted, his accuracy is way off Biraghi's. That's what you get there, and then you're playing an athlete. This might be overly simplistic, but you're playing an athlete over a footballer. You know what I mean? Prioritizing the athleticism other than the quality. Let's say
I get you. Over to you for our last game, brother.
Our last game is a very controversial one. It was quite a clean victory for Sassuolo, but there were some moments that need to be discussed. So this was Sassuolo 3, Udinese 1. Okay, for Sassuolo it was Muric in goal in a 4-3-3 with Valukovic, Itzes, Muharemovic and Josh Doig at the back, with Vranks, Matic and Kone in the middle, Berardi on the right, Lauriente on the left and Pinamonti up front. As for Udinese, it was Sava in goal in their 3-5-2 formation with Sole, Christensen and Palma at the back, Zamora and Zanoli on the wings with Atta Karlstrom and Piotrowski in the middle. Zaniolo started up front with Davis. So early on, Christensen headed wide from a corner created by Zaniolo. This was quite a big miss, to be honest. He should have definitely done better, and it's probably the reason why he got Sarah a 5 on her Fanta. She was devastated. She was like, "What's Christensen doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She just comes up to me and goes, "What the hell is Christensen doing?" I'm like, "Well, what's Christensen doing?" The game would have happened like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
He got me a 5. I'm like, "Babe, Christensen's not going to get you a 6.5 every week."
He was getting her a 7 every week.
He was, but it
bro.
was the first 3 games. You
Yeah.
can't take a player
Yeah.
based off the... Yeah, she's hilarious. She's pure money ball, my girlfriend. She looks at the data and takes players like that and often outperforms me somehow. Yes. So Sassuolo struck twice in 4 minutes with quick combinations that exposed Udinese's vulnerable defender Parma. They made him look really poor guy, and they just played the ball around him and they found great success in targeting him essentially. Udinese were awarded 2 penalties, but both were overturned after review. The first for an alleged foul by Lauriente on Zaniolo, judged instead as an offensive foul, while the second was for a challenge by Valukovic on Sole, which was also later annulled. Not a good look for the referee. He gave 2 penalties and they called him over at the council.
Yep. What a nightmare.
What a nightmare.
Like,
What a nightmare. How
I
embarrassing.
wouldn't want to be him in those situations.
And he goes, "Signore, signori!"
I was wrong.
Exactly. Once again, I was wrong.
I was wrong again.
Sorry.
It's not easy, yeah.
It's not easy at all. You have to put your pride aside. Davis missed a sitter from close range before scoring moments later on a rebound, while Sole also went close with a long-range shot, and in the closing stages, substitute Iannoni sealed the win for Sassuolo's third. With Sassuolo's third, rather. A fun game. I thought that Sassuolo looked much better than Udinese, and this reminded me of the Sassuolo of old, brother.
Yes, brother. It just brings back so many fond memories of watching Sassuolo, and we liked them so much that we went to the Mappe to watch them against Inter. This is the team that I mean, they're a Serie A team.
Yeah.
They played like a Serie A team over here. I think the fact that, and it shows, what I'm gonna say is a fact. They were not meant to go down to Serie B. This team.
No.
They hung on to a manager for far too long, made a few shitty decisions along the way, and they got relegated. And it was a disaster. They should have been nowhere that season. They should have been nowhere near the conversation of relegation.
Agreed.
And now they're showing us, victory over Lazio, a victory over Udinese. Of course, they still went down to Serie B, so they still have these growing pains to come back to, just like they lost against Como, they lost against Cremonese.
Yeah.
But slowly, we're starting to see we know their identity. Now it's about seeing it in action and seeing them make it effective, because these 11 players were playing against Bari last season, and now they're playing against these guys. So that little adjustment period is needed, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Clean victory. Udinese not at their best at the moment.
Another team that since they won a game against Inter have just been free falling. Was it that they beat Pisa in the league?
So let's pull that up. So
yes, it was.
Yeah.
So after they beat Inter, they beat Pisa, and since then they've lost to Milan.
To be fair,
and
they
they've
lost
to Sassuolo,
Yeah,
and they beat Palermo midweek as well.
The problem is they conceded 3 in each game.
Yeah.
But shout out to Kone, who got his first goal for Sassuolo in Serie A. Same with Iannoni.
Good player.
Regarding Udinese, I'm just gonna check quickly to see if they have any. They've got Bayo and Bravo. The Bravo is an attacker, and Bayo is an attacker as well. So it's not like they're missing any significant bodies at the back.
I mean, Okoye
is a big miss.
They're conceding goals, and Okoye isn't there. That's I guess that's fair to mention.
Yes, agreed. Lennon Miller came on in the second half and looked lively. I think we'll be seeing more of him because they do need some offensive creativity rather than just Zaniolo and Davis just running. Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's that, brother. Shall we move on to our segment?
Absolutely, brother. Cue us in, Nick. or dick. Wisdom with the wank. Sorry, I don't know why I'm taking it too far. As always, I don't have it open in front of me. So this is where I open up my chat with producer Nick.
Join us
pull
for
up.
this one, Nick.
Yes,
Hello.
Hello, Nick.
Hello,
Can you
hello,
hear
I'm
us?
back.
Hello.
I'm back.
Hi.
So in this image, which is on our screen at the moment, you could see that the
Indeed, I can see it.
Simi's out with the boys, man.
He's out with the
In this
boys.
photo.
Yeah.
He's
2021.
out with the boys. And what did he have to say? A single conversation across the table with wise men is better than 10 years mere study of books. Let's take a second before we speak. I want us all to take literally 5 seconds. Okay, what do you think?
I think he's right, man. Wisdom is with the wank. No,
Aside
he
from
says
that,
it's
yeah.
better than 10 years of mere study of books. A single conversation across the table with wise men is better than 10 years of study of books. I disagree with this.
I'm not gonna lie, that's like my entire like scholastic history, I think.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I started studying at like 11. That doesn't make sense. But
10 years
Oh,
of
yeah.
mere study of book, bro.
But you get what I mean. But I kind of respect it, man. I kind of respect it at the same time, but I don't know if I agree with it. You know what I? You know what I
years
mean?
a lot.
Can I
You know
just
what I mean?
can I just stop you guys and say something? Books are written by wise men.
Yes,
Wow.
and
If
imagine.
you read the right books, you're reading books written by wise men.
Exactly, for 10 years.
For 10 years. So it totally depends on where is the wise man.
I think he's the one with the beard on the left.
You think? You think?
You are technically having a conversation one way, only in a one-way conversation to a wise man when you're reading a book. So imagine 10 years of these wise men, of mere study of wise men in books.
Yeah. I think where I think what Simi has done here is he got the base of a fundamental belief that he has. Academics can only take you so far when real life experience can uplift you and take you higher. People with wisdom, people with life experience can take you further than academics. And I believe that. I believe that. Just obviously the way that he phrased it over here is a bit of a gross exaggeration, because a single conversation with wise men.
How's the weather? Good.
Exactly, that's a
You
conversation.
okay?
Right?
Yes.
But he's talking about a good
Tired.
conversation with a wise man that can change your perception of life. There's a question. Can a single conversation with a wise man change your thought process and beliefs so much so as to change your trajectory of life completely following that conversation? Is there wise enough a man to make someone do that?
I mean, it depends on how set you are in your life and how much inward thinking you do and how much reflection you do, right? If you're a person who doesn't reflect at all, who doesn't look inwards whatsoever, and you have one conversation with a person who does, and he gives you a technique, that could definitely change your life and change the trajectory of your life and definitely lead you to being a happier person. However, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Can a book
Can 10 year of mere book do that?
10 year of mere book can do a lot, bro. I understand the sentiment, of course. He's saying that experience is better than study. You know, you can read the theory book of driving. You know, you can read a manual on how to drive a car.
Yes.
For 10 years. And then you get in a car and you'll have no idea how to operate
Yes,
it.
you could read a book about selling to people and then get social anxiety the second that you have a meeting.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes.
It's not as...
Before we move on to our final segment, surprise, hashtag good times with good people, no space, hashtag Niger Brothers, hashtag.
Yes.
Yes.
Wisdom with the
Wisdom with the wank. Now, Nick, for this one, perhaps I should have warned you in advance. I'm gonna need the Indonesian national anthem in the background, please.
You can't just
You got no problem. I've got it here. Actually, I can't multitask, bro. It's on you.
Okay,
Whip it
Indonesian
out.
national anthem on YouTube right now. We're so professional. It's
We're so
ridiculous.
professional. We can edit this. I say we leave it though.
I say we leave it. It's raw.
Yes. Let me go on the YouTube video. Sassuolo Udinese.
I'm very excited with this new segment.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Higher.
Okay, go ahead.
What a pass from Jay Idzes. Vamos. Regards from Indonesia. In the Italian league, if Como, Cremonese and Sassuolo play, there will definitely be a lot of comments from Indonesians like me. Forza Indonesia. Bravo Jay Idzes. Congrats Sassuolo. Keep up the good work, Jay. It says, hopefully you can continue to play well and continue to do better in the future, and hopefully Sassuolo will continue to survive in Serie A. Forza Sassuolo. And it says, came here to support our national captain from Indonesia, Jay. It says, bravo. It says, bravo Sassuolo. I think that's enough for this one. Yeah, but they're everywhere. I can keep going. Wonderful of Sassuolo. I love that they call him Sassuolo without fail.
Sassuolo. You mean Sassuolo and Jay, it says?
Yeah.
They should change their team name to Sassuolo and Jay, it says. What a supportive
Absolutely.
bunch. Shout out to all our listeners from Indonesia and everywhere else as well.
Yes.
We love you all. And
Love
we'll
you all
catch you
equally.
next week. Goodbye.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
In the football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.